Well, welcome everybody to the Advancing Audio Masterclass. It's finally here, huh? I think we should give a round of applause for ourselves. I mean, this turnout is amazing. I love the fact that you've taken the time to invest in yourselves. This is going to be a fantastic time that we're going to have together here this week. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait for you to hear from us. And I can't wait for us to work together to bring this concert this weekend to fruition. I'm so happy to see you all. Thank you for being here. And let's get to it. Let's put the slides up. Let's put the slides up and let's get to it right away. So, a little housekeeping. We're going to have a morning session now, and then we'll break for lunch at about 12 o'clock. And I'll get someone on top of that to make sure that they're ready for lunch at 12 o'clock. And lunch is provided for you all. It's going to be just out here. I know we had some issues with our tags and wristbands this morning, but they're here now. We will take care of that once we go for lunch. So when you go for lunch, you'll get your wristband, your meal ticket outside, and then you'll have lunch. Food is provided, drinks are not provided, but there's a canteen. There's water provided, but there's a canteen if you want soda, juice, or anything else. You can purchase that at the Baptist Church canteen. Are we ready with slides? Can I get a thumbs up? It's so dark in there, I can't see. Okay, we are good. Yeah, go ahead, put them up. And we'll go from there. So, let's see. There we go. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Advancing Audio Masterclass. I'm just going to take you through what we're going to do. It's been long since I used a corded mic. I feel like a comedian on stage.
It'll be okay.
Yeah. As you can see, our guys are here. Let me step out the way for a second. Shannon is here. You want to say something to them real quick? Just say hi.
Something. Hi.
There you go. Brandon is here as well.
Hello, everybody.
And Shelton, my buddy.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah. All right. So let's put the slides up on the screen so we can go through it. And unfortunately, hey, we got some 500 kind of sneaking out somewhere. All right. So
An engineer's worst nightmare is a bunch of engineers on stage giving direction.
You're doing good.
So Christopher was supposed to be here with us, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it. He had some scheduling conflicts with his schedule. He couldn't get out of some shows that he's doing. But he will be with us over Zoom tomorrow at 9 a.m. I can't wait for that. He's got a lot to say. We don't need to talk about me anymore. I talked about myself too much on social media. We can move on. Next slide, please. And yeah, so this masterclass this week is just basically going to be for all skill levels. I don't know where most of you are in your career and in your skill set, but we're going to cater to you and meet you where you are, okay? So don't feel intimidated when we talk about certain subjects and you're not sure of what's going on. We want to leave the forum open, so we're going to open questions right from the beginning. If you feel like, hey, I'm getting lost, find yourself at the question and answer microphones. There's one on this side of the house. There's another one on this side of the house. Don't be afraid. Ask any question. No question is a dumb question in our industry. Trust me. I've asked many dumb questions many times, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? That's so easy. So there's no question that's a dumb question. So today we're going to open it up a lot. It's going to be very general. We kind of want to feel out where you guys are and kind of see where we'll go. And then after lunch, we'll kind of start diving deep into some technical stuff and some tips and tricks and some processes of what we use in our life and our career. Okay, next slide, please. All right, let's get to business. So, first order of business today is we're going to take out our cell phones. Every one of us. Do you guys have your phones on you? Yeah. We're all going to take a picture, whether you can take a picture on stage or people next to you or whatever, and we're going to hashtag Advancing Audio Masterclass on social media. And I would like you to tag me, whether on IG or Facebook. The information is on the screen. Tag me in your posts. And let's let this go viral, man. You know, too bad for the engineers that didn't come, because we got some nice goodies to give you guys. So sorry. So take a picture, take a moment, take a picture, take a video, and post it on social media. I'll give you a moment to do that. And hashtag Advancing Audio Masterclass. Tag me in it. and I'll spread the word as well. So I will give you about a minute or so to do that. Who's keeping my time for me? Nobody, I guess. That's good. You can play the music. I see some people taking selfies. That's great. That's great. You guys are the reason why this is happening. I'm so happy that you're here. You have no idea. A little more housekeeping real quick. I just kind of want to see where we are from and, who's here and all that. All the guys that are from Nairobi, let me see your hands, please. All the engineers that are here from Nairobi, Kenya. That's most of you, I would expect. Okay, hands down. Anybody here from outside of Nairobi? 1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. Okay, let's give a round of applause for these guys, man. Good stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Anybody here from outside of Kenya? Anybody from outside? Okay, all right. Okay, where are you representing from, sir? Rwanda. Wait, I saw another hand somewhere? Yes, sir. You made it. Welcome. You live here or you live here? Ah, welcome. You're representing your country. I know Uganda was in the building. Here he is, Uganda. Is there somebody on that side? Where from? Tanzania. Amazing. This is awesome. This is, right? Come on. That's amazing. Next slide, please. What we got? I don't remember. Oh, so yeah, exactly. We were just talking about that. The why. Why did we want to do this masterclass? Why? And I think the reason is sitting in front of us. It's you guys. You guys wanted this. You guys asked for this. We are here. We're happy to bring this training here for you. You wanted to level up in your production. You wanted to level up in your career. This 500 is killing me. And can we take 500 hertz out of the PA, please, if you don't mind? There it is. You hear that? I think that's 5, isn't it? It's close. I think it's, there it is. I hear you playing with it. 250, yeah. Check. Yep. Cool. Yeah. They got some good text back there. Huh? Good stuff. So yes, the why. So it's because of you. When I started this idea, I reached out to some of my friends who are here, and I was like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? And shout out to Mr. Nipul in the back from Sound Creations, one of our sponsors. We started this conversation, two years ago, maybe, at your shop? About 2 years ago. And when I put out some feelers about this idea, most of you came back to me and said, yes, let's do it. Because based on my understanding, trainings like this, you would have to pay a lot of money to go abroad to do stuff like this, like South Africa, Europe, or something like that, right? So we're happy that we're able to bring this masterclass here to you guys in Kenya. So this sounds really good now. I like this. We're happy that we're able to bring this here. Next slide, please, tech team. So what are the benefits of this? I think we kind of spoke about that already. You're here to level up your career, to increase your skill set. As I look across the room, I've actually worked with some of you, so I kind of know what your skill sets are. And we'd just like to help to bring your game to another level. Because honestly, we want to really have top quality live productions in Kenya on a consistent basis from week to week, month to month, year to year. So with that being said, let me see those hands of people who work in church production. If you're an engineer and you work in church production, I assume that's probably most of you. Okay, hands down. Those of you who work in church production and do live events outside of church, let's see that. Okay, so about half of you there. And those who don't work in church production but only do live events and other events outside of church. No church production at all. Anybody? Where? There's one over there, one over there, one over there. Okay, so good. So obviously, a lot of you guys who are in church, you work every week, right? So you're in this thing every single week, multiple days a week. You're setting up, you're getting your church ready, all that stuff. And those of you who do live events and live productions, you're doing pretty much the same thing. So we want to help you and benefit you with showing you kind of how we do things in the United States and around the world. It's a standard that things are done. And we kind of want to help you to get to that level so that when you're interacting with people from outside Kenya or internationally, you'll kind of understand the language of what people are talking about, and it'll be easy for you to interact, and it'll be easier for you to travel out and work these gigs as well, because they have an expectation of what you're supposed to do and kind of the things that you need to know firsthand before they hire you. All right, next slide. Yes, I think this is very important. You can see here on the screen our sponsors and partners. We want to thank you very, very, very much. I will start with Rational Acoustics. Mo Sound is here with us. Smith Consultancy is taking care of our finances on this show, making sure we're not spending too much money. Extreme Media Solutions is going to be here. They're sponsoring us, giving us a lot of gear for our concert. Mastermade Studios is here. They've been with us since the beginning. Moorhead Engineering is not here, but they sponsor some of the gifts and goodies that we have for you. Let's give a huge shout out to Parklands Baptist Church. I mean, they've been an incredible host. They've been with us from the beginning. Thank you, Parklands, Archie and your team. And let's give a huge shout out to Gig Dynamics as well. I believe they're well represented here. Kibugi, I was told not to call you Julius. You want to stand and wave to the people? So here's the thing. Gig Dynamics already has a concept called Open House, and we are so happy to partner with you, Gig Dynamics, on this. They're going to be part of the training that continues even after we're gone here in Kenya. So they're one of our very special partners. Sound Creations is here as well. Sound Creations represented by Mr. Nipul back there. Everybody knows Nipul. Nipul's been in the business for years and years. Let me see that slide again. I don't remember who else is on there. Myself, yeah, I don't care about that. And MXU. MXU is our, what we can call platinum sponsor. I mean, the package that they've given to us is just amazing. Let me see a raise of hands of people who know what MXU is or have ever heard about MXU. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a few people. How many people actually use MXU right now or have used it in the past? Great. What church do you represent, sir? Was it? Karura Chapel. Okay. Listen, I don't even know where to begin about MXU. Let's go to the next slide real quick. I believe, let's go to the next one, I think, which is the video. I'll let MXU explain for themselves.
Getting a production team to execute at a high level is a ton of work. You have to be an expert at audio, video, and lighting, while being able to train volunteers, give great feedback, and build a healthy team culture. No matter what your church looks like, nobody can do this alone. That's why the best leaders are building their production teams on the MXU platform. MXU starts with the best live production training in the world, from church veterans and touring pros alike. With hundreds of videos covering all levels, your team can build the skills they need without depending on you for every answer. MXU also gives you the tools to customize a training program for your team with documentation and your own content if you want. And features like assignments and our machine learning engine let you leave all the reminding and recommending work to us. MXU even helps you make a great first impression when you're recruiting new volunteers. We're rapidly expanding the tools you get in MXU so that you're able to build a healthy, effective team, regardless of your church size, staff size, or your budget. Learn more about the best way to build your production team at getmxu.com.
What do you think? What do you think? I see some head nods. I see some head nods here and there. So listen, MXU is an amazing platform. It's not just for church production. It's for all production, and it's going to teach you the standards internationally of how to build your team, how to build your skill set, how to use certain programs, how to go around your audio boards, how to set up your sound, your video, your lighting, your cameras, and how to train your volunteers as well. So it's for everybody. So, with that being said, I have a special offer for you from MXU. I like the two-pip, look at you guys. For this masterclass only, MXU is offering a 50% discount on their training platform for their basic package and their Pro package, which is right there. And if we go to the next slide, I want you to take a picture of that link. And if you signed up with an email, we'll send it to you as well. But take the picture. The code is active right now. Take it back to your church leadership and tell them, hey, you need to pay for this for a whole year. It's 50% off. And you get all the training that you need from MXU. And remember, Gig Dynamics is here too. So you got Gig Dynamics, you've got MXU. I mean, what else can we give them? Next slide, please. Next slide. Rational Acoustics. For those of you who know Rational Acoustics, let me see a hand if you know that company. Very good. About a third of the room. So Rational Acoustics is the makers of the software Smart. Smart is what we use to tune our PA systems and for system engineering. You wanted to say something, BT? Oh, there it is. It's even a mobile application. Smart is on mobile, Smart is on laptops, and they have a special offer for you as well, if we can go to the next slide. So Rational Acoustics is basically, like I was saying, a software that we use to tune PA systems and get our sound right, because there's some things that you can hear by ear, but there's some things that you need mathematical equations to help you with. So Smart is the go-to software for this. And we're gonna do some examples with Smart sometime this week with Brandon over here, our system engineer specialist. You ready for that this week?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's always ready, man. He's always ready. Next slide so we can see the offer. So Rational Acoustics is giving us 15% off their software. This is for, I can't read it, I think it's for Smart Suite, Smart RT, and Smart LE. And it has a promo code, which is AAM 2023 for Advancing Audio Masterclass 2023. So you can take a picture of that if you want to take advantage of that software. My suggestion to you, because even we complain, Smart can get very expensive. Find the right package for you. Find the right package. If you want to buy it as a group, if you're in a church and you have a church computer that you share, buy it as a group and use that computer for Smart, because it's one license per computer. I think that's right? You can't share licenses.
You actually get two.
Oh, you get two. You get two licenses.
Two activations.
2 licenses per computer, so that's even better. I always thought it was 1. So it's 15% off, and you get 15% off if you already have Smart and you want to upgrade. The 15% off code applies to that as well. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that too. Next slide, please. Oh, yes, we have giveaways and giveaways and giveaways. I'm not going to tell you what they are, but they'll be coming out slowly and secretly throughout the day today and throughout the week this week. So I am really looking forward to that. And then my last slide is talking about our concert on Saturday. Are we looking forward to this one? I mean, I think this one is going to be really good. And listen, we're doing what we need to do here on stage, but then on Saturday, you guys are running the show. So we're going to split you guys up in teams based on your interest. If you're a front of house engineer, if you're a monitor engineer, if you're interested in stage management, if you're interested in the IT part of audio, whatever your interests are, we'll split you up into groups, and then we're going to put the show together, and you guys are going to run the show. I can't wait for this one. I really can't wait for this one. Gig Dynamics is sponsoring our backline for this one. Sound Creations is giving us some stuff. Extreme is coming in. I mean, we have some great partners. Mo Sound is giving us some stuff. It's going to be a great show. It's really going to be a great show. And I think I'm talking too much. So, Shannon, would you like to take over? And let's go from there. Like I said, we're going to go until 12 o'clock, and we'll take a break for lunch, and we'll be back for the afternoon session. Thank you, guys. Put him on the spot.
That is so on the spot, bro. Wow, how you guys doing? How are you doing? Come on now. I came home for this, like for y'all to sit there and just look at me like, yeah, we're good, man. What you got to say about an EQ? How y'all doing, man? Good, good, good. We are so happy to be here. It is an actual privilege of mine to be here on this continent for this reason. I've been for other reasons, but to come and to share and to give and receive this level of information and knowledge and understanding, absolutely amazing. And listen, we were sitting up here about 8:30. I was a little skeptical. It wasn't that many people here. But to come out and to see these seats full like this, man, that's amazing. Give yourselves a hand.
Yeah.
Give yourselves a hand. Just a little bit about me, man. We were talking, and it all just started, and maybe this might be true for some of you. For me, it just started with music. I grew up in a very conservative church, and all we had was a big old pipe organ and a really good choir. But the way that the organist played introduced me to God from a musical and acoustical and powerful place. I understood now what thunder meant. Like can you imagine a rainstorm that has thunder and lightning, but you can't hear the thunder? It's not, it takes away some of and that thunder is God's low end to me. And you can never have too much of it because it's beautiful. It helps to create a whole kind of picture of who God was to me, right? And so when I listened to music, it was from that perspective. It had to be the full frequency range, from the high sizzles and cracks to the low rumbles and just grumblings of that low end. And I was introduced to that with an organ in a church. I saw so many of you are active in production in church. But I'm almost willing to bet you that maybe your parents had to tell you turn the radio down. Or you had, maybe if you had very conservative parents, you had to sneak and listen to music that you weren't supposed to be listening to. I had to sneak and listen to Earth, Wind, and Fire. I had to sneak and listen to Cameo. I'm dating myself now, right? But I had to sneak and listen to this music that was just so amazing and excited things in me that just regular life didn't. And so I found myself, I enlisted in the United States Army, and I began to love, let me go back just a little bit. Right, the night before, we had these dances called a prom. The night before my prom, I got hit by a car. What? So this night before my prom. And I messed up my knee and I had to have surgery. And so, in the United States, we do a whole bunch of suing. We sue everybody, right? And so my mother sued the person that hit me, and I got some money. And the money that I got, I told my mother I wanted DJ equipment. And she was like, DJ equipment? Where did that come from? So I got me 2 turntables, a mixer, 2 speakers, and I would just thump the music loud and loud and loud. So that's where I began to understand and create a love for gear. It was just a mixer, a turntable, and an amplifier, but it was mine, and I could do what I wanted with it. So now I have this love for music, I have this love for gear, and now it's coming together in the United States Army. And when I got out of the Army, I went to a school that Shelton and I went to, Shelton went to, I went later in life, and I was like, wow, the music was, how many of you have heard of a group called Take Six? Take Six? What about a group called Virtue? Gospel group called Virtue. How many of you know, because y'all looking at me crazy, how many of y'all know who Brian McKnight is? Wow, even less hands. Well, these are musical stars and geniuses in the United States and around the world, except in Kenya. Apparently, we have to tell them, you guys are not doing anything in Kenya, right? But they all went to this school. That was the common denominator, was this school. And I noticed that there wasn't any black-owned recording studios. And I went on a quest to want to own one in that city. And that's where it just started for me. And we were talking in the back, right around the time that it was starting, Shelton was in it deep. I'm throwing to you in a minute. Shelton was in it deep. He had been traveling and mixing and recording and doing all this amazing work. And it all had a basis for a lot of us, and I believe a lot of you, in music and then this gear stuff, this tinkering, the knobs and the faders. And we, over this masterclass, are going to talk about and share that love. And we hope and we pray that you all will accept our offerings for what they are, because we are really excited. We've been doing a bunch of talking about this and being here, and we're looking forward to the next few days being with you guys and sharing a whole lot about what we love. Shel. I threw to you. I threw to you. Yes, you got to stand up. Yes, you have to stand up.
So I'm a prototypical tech person, and I don't like being up front. Because in our business, when you get noticed, it's because something went wrong, right? So this is uncomfortable, because I don't like being noticed. But a little bit about me, I've been doing live sound since, oof.
Wait, we can talk about how long?
This is going to be really bad. Started in the 1980s. Ooh. I know, well before any of you were born. So my father owned a video production company, and we used to do camp meetings for church organizations. And I showed interest in doing sound and that kind of thing. And so one day during a service, he got me set up and he left me. And it was sink or swim, right? At that point, there's nothing you can do. And to make it even worse, the console that I was using was behind the stage, so I couldn't even see what was going on stage. Yeah, this is a long time ago. And I didn't get scared off, right? So I've been doing it ever since. And then I picked up the recording end of it in probably 1990-ish, 89, 90. So, an interesting story. He got in a car accident and got his first DJ equipment. I got in a car accident and got my first multi-track recorder. Wow. How about that? I've known this guy for 1,000,000 years and never knew that. Never knew that. Yeah. So I bought an 8-track recorder, reel to reel, that only like 6 tracks worked half the time. But it was where I began. So, which means to me that wherever you begin is a good place to begin. I love the fact that there are young people here. Because I was, I guess, 15, 16 when I started. And so I think it's great because the young minds can absorb information. And there's going to be a lot of information that you all are going to get here over the next few days. So I started doing live sound back in the 1980s. I've toured and been around the world. This is actually my second time in Kenya. I was here back in 2014 with Pastor William McDowell, and we did an event at the KICC, which was actually sound. The rig was provided by Mo Sound, which was an amazing rig. Sounded great. But I've been to the continent of Africa now 9 times, and have felt welcome every time I've been here. So it is indeed an honor, as Shannon said, to be here. So really what we hope to do, first of all, is keep it light, keep it fun. We're all pretty silly, but we're very serious about what we do, right? When it's time to work, it's time to work. Outside of that, we're not serious at all. But we want to keep it open for questions. Please, 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 please. As Byron said, there is no dumb question. You have to ask questions or you'll never get answers. Or it might take you longer to get an answer that you might need to get right now. So please feel free to ask questions so that we can get things answered for you. I don't know how to end.
The worst question to ask
The one you didn't.
is the one you didn't ask.
You didn't ask. Right.
Please.
Ask questions.
That's the only way you learn. And one thing I do love as we throw to BT, I see so many people with notepads
Right.
taking notes.
Right.
That's amazing. Like, that lets me know y'all are serious. And so,
The mere fact that you're here means you're serious, right? I wish that there was something like this when I was you all's age, right? Because we didn't have this. And so we had to trial and error it through. When I got to the school that he talked about, I got into that car accident and I got my recording equipment, but I also had a sound system that my father allowed me to take down to school. So it was a very musical school, and so I did sound for all the concerts, and I charged the school to do the work, right? That's what I'm working, right? We charge to do the work. So that's kind of how I cut my teeth in the beginning portion of this many, many years ago. But once again, thank you so much for having us. I'm going to throw to Brandon, because I don't know how to end.
just
I don't
walk
do
off.
this. Yeah, I'll just walk off the stage.
Just walk off.
Here's Brandon.
All right. Hey, everybody. So my name is Brandon. I go by BT a lot. It's just easier on a show. I hear BT. I know. That's got to be me. Thanks for having all of us. It's an honor. It's a privilege to be here. My first time in Kenya. First time on the continent of Africa. So thank you.
Welcome home.
Feel very welcome. So I think that we've hit on a couple of things already, and the one thing that I think that we talked about this morning, we talked about as a team before we even were here, was our love of music. Everything that we're going to talk about has to do with our love of exploring sound. So Shannon talking about thunder. I mean, audio is such a gift to us. Jesus spoke the Sermon on the Mount. The sound went out to the crowd. There was no PA. That was acoustics. That was God's own invention. So if we can do something to lift up who He is and use sound, that's just an amazing thing. So a little bit about myself. I got into sound. My parents listened to records all the time when I was growing up. So I remember being in the house, we would have listening parties. So they'd put a record on, turntable, right? Old school. And we'd have people over and they'd just listen. And I thought, that's interesting. Why are they just sitting around listening to music? But it's about exploration. It's about listening to a song, and you can listen to something 50, 100 times, and you'll hear something different every time, especially if you're listening on different systems. So let's say you listen on headphones, you listen on speakers, you listen on your computer, you listen on your car, whatever you've got. If you listen to something, you may hear something different every single time. So it's about exploring the music through being a student of the sound itself and dig down inside, and you'll realize that if you can get an imprint of what something should sound like, then it makes it easier for your job as a sound engineer or even as a musician to recreate that sound later. So fast forward, I became a trumpet player in high school, or middle school, high school. Did some symphonic band, symphony, actually enlisted in the Marine Corps as a trumpet player. And they sent me away because there was no place for me in the Marine Corps at that time. It's a long story, but yes, I did go to Parris Island for a moment, which is the training center for the Marine Corps. But then I came back and I was like, what am I going to do? Well, a friend of mine was a drummer, and I was an audio person at the point because I had done some audio for my school, and my dad was running sound at a church. So I went on the road as a sound engineer in 1991 and then became the drummer for that band for 12 years because I said yes to an opportunity to go on the road with this up-and-coming band. And so I did 12 years, 4 albums, major label. I toured all over the United States. So I fell in love even more with the process of making music through studio time. And then coming off the road, my wife and we had a child. I started working for a church and then just really took off with live event production in churches. So about 5 years ago, I went into this realm of freelance. So I mix for events, I mix for bands, I mix for my church, and it's really been fun learning more and more about the industry. So the one thing that I would say is like the biggest takeaway, I said yes to everything I could when I first started. I said yes, no matter what it was. I said yes, I will do that. Yes, I will help. Yes, I will do that role. Because what we do as audio people is we're there to serve others. And so when you're thinking through your role within a show, the more you can serve the other people on your team, the better your event can be. You serve the band. So these people up here, right? We're serving them. We're making what they do on stage even better. We're serving the team that we work with. So let's say I'm an audio lead for a show, and I've got a couple guys that are helping set up. My role is not to tell them what to do. My role is to say, how can I make what you do easier? How can I make what you do better? How can we as a team accelerate what we're doing? So yeah, that's just a bit about me. We've had an awesome time getting to know each other more as this event came up. I'm actually the new guy to the three of them. I met Byron a couple years back now on some events in Georgia. And yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. If y'all have any questions, like we're here, like we've talked about, there's no such thing as a bad question. If we've had it, if we've experienced it, maybe we can give you some insight on how we would handle it. Because I know that what we do is not easy. What we do is a labor of love. So we have to know that what we're doing, we love it. And we want to make things better for the people who are attending. So that's why we're here. We want to make things better for y'all. So that's a Southern term, y'all. For y'all. Say it, y'all.
Come on, y'all, say it, y'all.
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 All right, that's it.
That was good. That was good. I'm really proud of Brandon because, to be honest, as long as I've known BT, he's very, and all of us, but definitely BT, he is not a public speaker by any means. By any means. And I'm so proud of you, man, to stand in front of this audience and speak your heart about all things audio. Thank you, BT. Thank you, all you guys. What'd you say?
Sheldon said you're not proud of him.
You too.
I mean, come on now. I want to break protocol for a second here because I've just seen someone who's here and is very special to this industry. And I reached out to him personally and invited him to come. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but if you could make your way on stage, I'd just like to thank you. His name is Mr. Rajput. He is a legendary engineer here in Nairobi, Kenya. He's one of the first engineers I met when I moved to Kenya, and I'm so happy that you made it here. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajput. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Let's give it up for Raj. Let's give it up for Rajput. I haven't seen him in so long. Thank you, Mr. Rajput. Thank you for coming. Hold on a second. I want to put you on the spot for a second. I kind of want you to, Shannon, can I borrow your mic? I kind of want you to just talk to the people and say hi and give some of your history and your experience. I mean, were there things like this when you were growing up? How did you learn? What was going on when you were coming up? We'd love to hear from you. Please, just a word for a minute or two.
I learned it a long time ago. When I was a kid, like all these guys were.
Right. We don't want to do it.
Well, it started with my elder brother. Then I took it a little bit in a different way. I started, as he says, early 70s and grew into it.
80s, yeah.
So that's where it all began and started touring around with a lot of groups, a lot of hard work,
Yeah.
and it worked.
Yeah, yeah. So growing up, did you where did you learn? How was it trial and error, like what Shannon was saying and Shelton was saying, or
Well, some things
did you
are
travel
trial-
abroad for?
Some things trial and error, some things good to listen to stuff. And
Yeah.
I started developing my own way of doing things,
Right.
my own sound systems, and then I went away to college for a while.
Okay.
That's where it all started.
And what are your thoughts on programs like this that we're putting together?
There should be
and
more.
It should be more.
Yep.
That's so good to hear. That's so
So
good
the
to
young guys have a long way to go.
Yeah, yeah, because I honestly, I felt like, and I've worked in this region a little bit before, and I've always felt like there's been a bit of disconnect between the senior engineers and some of the younger guys coming up. It's like they're holding their trade secrets to themselves and not allowing some of the younger guys to get into those positions to be great. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I've
Well,
noticed.
they know if they could
before.
get a hold of me, they should know where I am. I'm
Yeah.
always with arms open. I've got some new guys coming up.
Yes.
It's good.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't have a problem with that.
I'm so happy that you're here. I hope you'll stick around at least for lunch so we can take a picture with
Sure.
you. We are going to honor you. I know there are many other legendary engineers here in Kenya. We've reached out to some of them and we'll continue to reach out to them because we want to honor you because you paved the way for all these guys who are here today. So we thank you. We thank you so much. So please
Thank you
stick
so
around.
much for having me.
Please stick around and we'll take some pictures with you. Great, great. Oh my gosh, listen, I mean, I think we're off to a great start. We have about, where are we now? An hour and a half before lunch, and I think it's time for us to open for question and answer. We're gonna keep it as open and general.
I want to say something to
Yeah, go ahead.
To
Rajput?
the question that you asked
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Right. When you said now, just so you guys understand, right? This isn't about a Midas X32 or M32 or Behringer, whatever, Digico, whatever, knob, tourney, fader thingy, right? Because they're all the same,
Correct.
right? We want to present some things that you're not going to hear, right? And so I want you to keep that in mind as you're taking notes. Don't get too caught up in, I want to come and learn how to push this button. But if you're open to the concepts, then it'll allow you to grow in ways that a fader pusher will not be able to grow. That is not what you were asking about. That's not germane to Kenya.
Right.
Right. So I was working. So I started out really doing the work in larger productions as a stage manager, right? And so I'll be teaching on that a little later on, right? This week, right? But I remember I was still so interested. I was always by the monitor console, and so I was so interested and enamored, and it was like all these buttons, and it was an analog console. It was just so big, and I had questions. And the person that was mixing, outstanding and amazing monitor engineer, outstanding and amazing. And I started asking questions. And the beautiful thing about this man was he was honest with me. He said, I can't tell you that information. I was like, why not? He said, because if I tell you and you learn how to do my job, then you can take my job. Right? So what I want you to do for any of the seasoned engineers that might be in here and whatever range you are and how long you've been doing this, release yourself of hoarding knowledge because it's infinite. The longer you stay in it, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you become. The better you become, the more people will begin to ask you to come and work for them. And so you don't have to be afraid to tell one of the young ones, pull the young ones to your bosom, close to you and say, hey, you're doing that wrong. Or hey, do this, do that. Can someone from the tech team, is there a mic cable that is free, an XLR cable that's not being used? I want to show you something. I want to show you something, guys, that's going to change your whole life.
I like where this is going because I want to learn this too.
This is going to change your whole life.
Just to learn something.
Just, 6 meters, 10 meters. Just don't shoulder wrap it. Don't expose yourself.
That's exactly
Come on, quickly,
where he's going.
quickly. We want to move. Good deal.
Oh, that's even better.
Outstanding. I
think I kind of know where he's going now.
That's a good 50-footer. That's a good 50-footer. Oh, yes.
And it's in the perfect condition you wanted it to be.
Yes. Thank you so much. Now, before we get this Q&A started, right? Can I have a volunteer? Just give me 2 volunteers. Just anybody. Just feel free to jump
Don't all
up.
move at one time.
Yeah, don't feel free. Here, let me stand up. Yeah, I have a volunteer. What is your name, sir? Paul. Come on, Paul, come close right here. All right, Paul. This is what I want you to do. No.
You're welcome.
Uh-oh.
I wrapped that yesterday. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
I want Paul to wrap that cable. You got 30 seconds, Paul.
So, Paul, are you left-handed or right-handed? Okay.
Paul, you're going to get in trouble.
Come on, Paul.
Let's go, Paul.
Under, over. Look.
It's not in a knot.
Okay, come on, Paul.
You said you wrapped that cable?
I did. It's not in a knot. You didn't throw it out far enough. If we could get we're not getting any of these monitors here at all, on any of them.
Paul is
Bus
making
one.
me very proud right now.
Bus one.
I need one more volunteer.
Check. T.
Who will be the one?
Are they on?
Here we go.
Hey, oh, there we go. Somebody not scared. Paul, give Paul a hand.
Good job,
Give Paul a
Paul.
hand. Thank you, Paul. Outstanding job. You ready? Let's see how Paul did. Let's see how Paul did, all right? Hold on, you grab that in. Hold on, let's just see how
Pull it
Paul
back.
did.
Okay, Paul.
Paul did good.
Paul did good.
Good stuff.
Paul did good.
Paul did good. What is your name, sir? Henry?
Edwin.
Edwin. Great to meet you, Edwin. 30 seconds, go. Oh, over, under.
Okay.
All right.
A little tight, but over, under.
Yeah.
Now I want, Edwin, stop. Now I want you to wrap it like somebody's giving you the cable and you have to use it. Keep going.
I'm not doing anything different.
Because I don't want that cable that tight, personally.
But
Right.
that's all about personal preference. But I don't either.
Right. You get that tight.
Hey, it'll fit in the case though.
Hey, right. One of the questions that you'll find yourself asking, especially those that do live events, you'll say, who wrapped this cable?
Yeah.
Right.
Edwin, outstanding job. Give Edwin
Good
a
job.
hand.
Good work.
Right?
Good work.
So for you young ones, and I hope you don't take that as disrespect. I mean that with the most respect, right? For
'Cause
you
we're
young
all
ones, so you see these consoles coming through Digico and Yamaha and SSL and Midas and all that, right? If you were being trained by me, you couldn't even ever think about touching that until you mastered this. Can anyone tell me, step to the microphone and tell me why? Give me 3 reasons why this is the fundamental, most basic thing that you have to know in audio. And give me 3 reasons why. Anybody?
I think this is a good segue for a giveaway.
Yes, sir. Step to the mic.
Step up to the microphone over
I'm gonna
there.
go get something right quick.
Step to the mic right there. Right there. Yep.
Make sure it's turned on.
Is it on?
Okay, number one, to save time, because
To save time, that's a good answer.
number one. Number two, presentability. For you
Bec-
to be
say-
presentable. Presentability.
Presentability.
Yes.
So aesthetics.
Number three,
Yeah.
safety of the cable.
Safety of
So
the
that you
cable.
do not damage the cable.
To not damage. And why don't we want to damage a cable?
Because you're going to incur unnecessary costs.
Give me a deeper reason why.
You'll have issues with your sound, maybe probably cracking sounds and all that.
This is the vehicle by which your sound travels.
That's it.
Is this an Ethernet cable? It's a cable. And if you don't wrap it correctly and if you don't take care of it, would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
To deal with damaged cables is the most horrid thing you could.
Because one of the grandest issues, the biggest issues that you'll have with bad cables is what? No audio, you'll have hums, you'll have buzzes, you have all manner of things that you're trying to chase down.
Yep.
And while you're trying to chase it down, people will be coming in for sound check and you're not prepared, right? Or it can just randomly happen and a cable just go bad. If you don't know how to chase those things down, those fundamentals are where we start.
That's it.
So did he get it right?
Yes, both.
Who was it? It was
Edwin
2
and
people?
Paul, both of them.
Where are they?
Did an
Where are they?
outstanding job.
Come to the stage,
Paul,
guys.
Edwin, where are you?
Congratulations. The 2 that answered the question? Was it 2 or 3?
Yes, it was 2 of them.
Okay.
No, wait, hold on, wait.
No, he's Shannon. He's
Who-
asked about who answered
Who
the
answered
question.
the question?
Oh, the
Right,
question.
The question.
Oh, the gentleman
It's-
here answered the
It's
question.
just one guy?
Yes, just
Oh,
one.
congratulations. You won yourself a pair
He
of
gave a good
in-ears.
answer. He gave a good answer.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I thought you were going. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. You're good. And that's kind of how we're going to do things, you know? You just never know what's going to happen.
Just never know.
Just don't know.
So you might want to volunteer. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Everybody will be jumping up now.
Oh,
I want
yeah.
to do something.
You want to take lead? You good, Brandon? You had something to say?
So that was a great example. I think that the thing that you also have with the cable like that, you don't know you're going to have a problem with it until you go to use it.
Yep.
So take care of what you've got because, you know, it's got to be presentable. You got to know you can trust it. And you know that when you pull it out, it's going to work.
Those are the tools in your toolbox. If you go to pick up a hammer and the end of your hammer is cracked and you go to drive the hammer and it breaks off, then your tools are broken. You want to keep your tools in good shape, right?
Yeah. Also, I think when you're out in the field and you encounter a bad cable or a bad piece of gear, you know, tag it, mark it, and send it back to the shop and make sure that your leads know what's going on with the cable. Because the worst thing that can ever happen is you to send bad cables back out to another gig. It's going to kill the next person's gig. I mean, you have 100 pack of XLR and you need 99, and you have 2 bad cables in your pack. Now you got to send for cables from the shop. Your shop is taking 2 hours to get to your venue. You're 2 hours behind. The band is there for sound check. You don't have an XLR for the drum pad. It just kills your time.
And the drum pad makes the show.
And the drum pad makes the show. So if you encounter bad gear, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. When we did our tuning yesterday here, we encountered some bad gear and we've put it aside. And we're going to let the leads know that you have some gear that needs to be fixed, and fix it the right way. Don't take shortcuts, okay?
Is there anyone here, just want to 2 more minutes on the cable thing. Is there? I just want you to be honest, but I don't want to embarrass you. So I do understand. But is there anybody here that wraps a cable like this?
Oh boy.
While he's doing that, I'm going to tell you a story. Yeah. I used to work at a corporate television facility in Philadelphia. This was years ago. I was an intern.
Just raise your hand. Anybody.
Don't be ashamed.
And I was wrapping a cable like that. And the engineer, the video engineer, came in and screamed at me. I won't tell you what he said because it's not a very nice thing. Let's just say I've never wrapped a cable again like that since. But after he screamed at me, he showed me the proper way to wrap cable. And that's worldwide. That's not United States. That's how we wrap cable. That's how we do it. Over-under method. If you don't know it, please learn it. Okay?
Tons of videos out there that can show you that. Okay, so are we ready to move on from our cable discussion? All right, so look, the floor is open. There's 2 mics on the floor. There's one over here, house right, and there's another one over here, house left. Feel free to stand, come to the mic, ask a question. It doesn't matter how basic it is. It doesn't matter how advanced it is. This is your opportunity. If there's something that's been bothering you that you've been trying to figure out, let's go ahead and ask, you know? And like I said, we're going to dive deep into many different subjects this week. So feel free. This is your moment to ask any of us any question. Even if it's a question about us, ask away. We'll be happy to answer. We're here for the next, what is it? What time is it? Yeah, just a little over an hour before we break for lunch. So this is your moment. And like I said, hey, you never know what's going to happen. So any volunteers? The first question is always the hardest. The first person to step up is always the hardest. Go ahead. You don't even have to raise your arm. Just go straight to the mic. If it's more than one person, just stand one behind the other.
Yeah. See that? What was that?
That was a power fluctuation. We are on house power, sir.
Ooh.
And I don't think we have a PD to regulate our power.
Wow.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello?
What's your name?
Mercy. My name is Mercy.
Mercy.
I have a question for live stream.
Okay.
Whenever you have a mix on your board that doesn't sound the same as your live stream, what can you do to change or fix that?
That's a good question. So when we're talking about live stream, we're talking about taking something in a room and we're talking about taking it out to the internet, right? So there's 2 ways of doing it. We had a discussion about this morning, actually.
Right, sure did.
So I have come from a world where the mixer, front of house mixer, is doing the live stream. That's where the sound that you're hearing online is actually coming through the board that is mixing for the house. Another way of doing it is to have a separate mixer or to somehow split the signals from stage to you can use a mixer or even a DAW, like software, to do it. And so there's critical components of that. And the first one is to trust your listening environment. So yesterday, Byron was talking about coming into the church and they did some tuning. So tuning the PA, making sure that the PA sounds like a big set of speakers that you'd like to have at your house. It sounds good and pleasing. That's the first step if you're going to be mixing for online, because if it sounds good in the room, it should sound good online. Another way of doing it is to have, if the PA is tuned correctly, and your mix sounds good. So that's about crafting your mix and making sure that the instruments sound good, your sources are good, because your mix can't sound any better than something that sounds bad on stage. So it all starts with the instrument itself, how it gets to the system, how it gets to the mixer, how you equalize it, how you balance the levels of everything. The technique of the players has a big important part of it. And those are things you can't control, but those are things that you can talk to the musicians about, hopefully. But then if you get into the concept of a split, so you have front of house audio and you have a split that goes to stream, that's where you have a high quality set of monitors or headphones even, and you're mixing for the online stream. Now if it doesn't sound right, like if you go after the fact and you listen back and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like I thought it sounded, There's a couple of ways you can kind of deal with that. And it does start with having good headphones, good reference system, good speakers. But it also starts with understanding the music. One of the things that I tell anybody that I'm training front of house audio or even mixing for any kind of project, listen to the songs that you're going to be mixing yourself. Listen to the original artist. Listen to the intent of the original mix. Because if you can get that imprint, that the fingerprint of the sound in your head before you start mixing it yourself, then you'll have a better chance of hitting the target. And so it's about really knowing what the target is. And there's interpretation. So there's sometimes you don't even know what it's going to sound like because it's completely different. It's acoustic version of a much more energetic song. So it's just about knowing your target. Listen back and constantly evaluate yourself. Do any of y'all listen back to what you've recorded or what you've mixed? Show of hands. Good. So it's kind of like a football team. Like a football team, any kind of a sports team, they're only going to get better if they're watching their tapes and they're reviewing the things that they did. So always be a student of your own mix. Listen to what you did and you go, you know what, that didn't sound that great. And so next time it happens and you're back in the environment you mixed from, you go, oh, now I recognize what wasn't right and now I can change it. And then you listen again, you go, okay, I hit the target that time. And so you just refine. But go ahead.
And so to add to that, I'm personally going to always opt for having a separate mixing console and having a person in a room, having an audio split. So there's a qualified person in there mixing that. And I want to emphasize qualified person in there mixing that stream. It's really, really important. And even in this scenario, it needs to be a qualified front of house person, right? Doing that mix as well. And so that's part of why you all are here, is to work on your qualification part. But in order to get the stream, in my opinion, and we all have different opinions on it, in my opinion, the best way to get an online mix is to have a separate console with a separate mixing engineer with either good headphones or good monitors and a space where he can actually he or she can actually hear things clearly and put that mix together. That's what I'm going to always choose. I know that it is not always an option, but if you can have that option, I think that's the best route to go.
Does that help?
As a front of house engineer, because just listening to the question, with that specific scenario, as a front of house engineer, what we know as streaming mixes and broadcast mixes for the stream, people would call a board mix or a tape mix, a board tape. Right? And the only way that you can get a board tape to sound anywhere close to decent for the artist to want to listen to and evaluate. They're evaluating you, not on what happened in the room. They're evaluating you based on what happened on that board tape.
Right.
Is you must become a student of tuning a PA and then monitoring that PA. So smart, right? You guys, this what Rational Acoustics is offering. So you have two inputs you should have two inputs that go into smart. One is a board reference, so it comes directly off of the console, and one is your microphone. Unless you have a horrible, horrible, horrible listening environment, the room is just horrible. Those two traces or patterns should look similar. The reason why you have the reference is because you know it'll tell you if you see low end on the reference and you don't see low end on your microphone trace, you know something's wrong. you're able to look at that at a glance and say, is there an anomaly in the room? When we were hearing that 500 and the octave, which was 250, right up here, and Byron, I have been in places speaking, but not as an engineer, but I had to stop my presentation and deal with the feedback because it was just so distracting. So I appreciate how professionally you handled that, right? But the three of us all pulled out our analyzers on our phones, right? Because on smartphones, there are different companies that make analyzers. Some of them are free, some of them cost a little bit of money, but it will help you. I don't know how many people have perfect pitch. I don't have perfect pitch. So I can get relative. I know what 1K sounds like. Doo. That was what our TVs went off when back in the 70s.
Right. That's a long
And
time.
when
You
our
don't know anything
TV went
about
off, we heard a 1K tone.
Their TV doesn't go off anymore.
Right. So if you know what 1K sounds like, doo, then you know if it's below 1K, don't be messing up above 1K, right? But you're able to balance your mix in such a way that what is coming off of the board should be, this is not in the optimum. What the optimum was having a separate broadcast mix. That's what we should be working for, right? But when we don't have that, when budget doesn't allow that, or personnel doesn't allow that, or a combination thereof, then we want to make sure that acoustically what's going on in the room, we have an accurate representation of that. So if your organizations, or if you, I'm quite sure we're ranging in what we're making, as if this is your full-time job or part-time or whatever, invest in that tool. Just put some money aside and invest in some sort of acoustical analysis, multi-channel, at least 2-channel acoustical analysis that will allow you to be able to have that kind of reference both live and off the console.
Yeah, and this concept of having the tools that you need to do your job, this is what separates you from anybody else.
Right.
And so
Correct.
investing in smart, in at least having the app on your phone that you can trust, because the microphones in these phones are so good nowadays, they can tell the difference between something that's good and bad. It may not be razor flat, but you don't need razor flat to fix a problem. Like we knew, without having that whole reference thing, we knew exactly which frequency it was based on our phones. So invest in yourself, invest in the tools, and that separates you from somebody else. That's what gets you along in your career a little faster.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, I think also training your ear to hear those frequencies is very important, because remember, you're trying to hear frequencies in a musical space, so it's not going to sound like a doo, you understand? But if you can identify, oh, my 1K is a little hot in my mix, I need to bring it down. And that comes from ear training. You really got to listen and understand frequencies, because 1K in Kenya is 1K in the US. It doesn't change.
Right.
I think Shelton talks about that a lot all the time.
Right.
Frequency is a frequency. And once you get used to hearing them all the time, you start to identify frequencies all the time. Like one frequency that really annoys me is 3K. I can't stand 3K.
Right.
I don't like it.
What's your least?
So
Your least favorite frequency is 3K?
3K and 315.
Yeah.
Those two, can't stand them.
So also, and we could probably talk about this subject alone for a very long time. It may not even necessarily be frequency, but just knowing how to blend the components of your mix, right? Know where those instruments need to sit in that mix. Understanding where your vocals need to sit in that mix. If you have a praise team, and this is kind of going off into the presentation of streaming, but we'll go there. If you have vocalists, let's say you have a praise team of 5 or 6 people, but you know you're going to have a weak link or two in there. You're going to have to pay attention to those people, and you're going to probably, especially when you're talking about broadcast, and you don't have to the room and the emotion of the room to cover the multitude of sins that oftentimes happen vocally, right? You're getting direct feed to the internet. So you might have to duck some vocals here and there. If you have a musician that's not the best player, you might have to learn to tuck that under something else. Those are all about listening to music and understanding what blend and mixing sounds like. Mixing is an ongoing process throughout the event. If you're mixing music, I don't ever stop mixing when I'm mixing front of house until the show is over.
Please
There's
repeat
always-
that. Please,
Don't
let's pause
ever.
there.
There's not ever a time if there's music. If we're in the message and somebody's preaching or something, I mix at church. If somebody's preaching or something, at that point I'll sit back a little bit. But if there's music, I don't ever stop mixing. You'll never see me sitting at the console like this because the mix is done. The mix is never done until the song is done or the service is done. If you set the faders or whatever and you sit back, you're not mixing. You're just monitoring what's going on in the room. So mixing is an active thing that's going on, and you need to be doing that during your stream as well. Invariably, I always feel like streams have a guitar that's way too loud for whatever reason. And I don't know why. But a guitar that's way too loud and a vocal that's way too loud. Just one.
Well, are you? I find this a lot. If I'm a drummer, I'll mix the drums loud. That's just how I do it.
Right, okay,
If
right.
you got a keys player, they're gonna mix the keys.
Right,
if
right.
the musician, if the person mixing is a musician in any way,
It will be,
they
yes.
will turn up that instrument that
Right.
is their preference.
Don't let musicians
happens.
be your mix engineers. I'm just kidding. But yes, it's an ongoing thing that you have to learn about balance. You have to learn about. See, I'm trying to hold it back because
Don't hold back, baby.
Hey.
Release the Kraken.
because you okay.
You'll have time. You'll have
All
time.
right.
You can do it
Okay.
again.
Yeah.
You
gotta
have
hear
to
this more.
also, and this is what I'm going to start with when I talk about front of house mixing. But it's the same. It's the same for front of house. It's the same for broadcast. It's the same for mixing the record. Before you turn a button, touch a knob, touch a fader, if you don't understand your audience, you're going to fail. Do you know what I mean by that? Understand the mindset and the thought process of the people who are going to be absorbing the work that you're doing, right? As a church mix guy, as a gospel music guy, I understand that I have the opportunity to create an atmosphere. As the musicians and the singers are doing atmosphere, I am also creating an atmosphere by the things that I'm doing. So the console is my instrument, right? I'm going to stop there and we're going to go on to that.
It was
that
just
stuff
getting
later.
good. It was just getting good, too.
Yeah, we're going to touch on a lot of that stuff in the front of house part. But I hope that answered your question about streaming.
Okay, that was great. Any other question?
I get excited about this.
Yeah, I know. I can see that.
Oh, man. it's goosebumps.
It should be on. Is it on? There we go.
Good morning.
That's
That's an engineer right
That's an engineer here.
Yes, sir.
My name is Collins from Kabarak in Nakuru. I have two questions.
Sure.
The first question is, probably in your early stages, you could share your worst experience while you're in the control. Worst sound experience that probably made you have a change of mindset or made you think I need to learn more.
Worst sound experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I got one, too. Go ahead, Shan. Whatever you-
Okay, wait. Let me ask the second question.
Yeah, second question.
Then the second question would be on speaker placement. You know you're going to have an audience like this. How do you decide I'm going to put this speaker there, and not here? Yeah.
That's good. We can
You
cover
gonna
all that.
take that one? Can I tell my worst experience?
Yeah,
I think
tell
my
yours,
worst
tell yours.
experience
Yeah,
is,
tell yours,
is
tell
the
yours,
worst
tell yours.
experience up here, right? So, and I'm gonna try to keep it brief. So, I keep asking about artists, but hopefully y'all know some of them, right? Music Soul Child. Do we know who that is? Music Soul Child. All right, so I was front of house mixer and production manager for Music Soul Child. Do we know who Robin Thicke is? We know who Robin Thicke is, all right? And do we know who Joe is? The artist Joe. All right, so I was on tour with Music Soul Child. So we were touring. We started up in the northern section of the United States, and we were coming down the East Coast to Atlanta, where we all live right now. And I'm mixing front of house, and we're doing like rooms that are anywhere from 500 to 1,500, 2,000 seat capacity. So I am killing it. I could go to heaven off of these mixes. It was so amazing. It was just like, hey, the band was talking, the artist was talking, the bus driver was talking. Like, oh my goodness, it sounds so good. Toot toot. And so
Tooting his own horn.
and so we're getting down to Atlanta. So now we're stepping off of our tour and doing this show, the three of us. Robin Thicke is opening. It's us in the middle, and Joe is closing. So we're talking on the bus, and we're almost in Atlanta, and I say, Joe don't want to go after us. Joe does not want to go after us because we are going to murder him. Absolutely murder him. And they were like, oh yeah, man, and the band was just gassing me up. Yeah, man, you mixing. We gonna kill him. We get to Atlanta. It's time for a sound check. Now, I have a analog console, analog out gear, but a digital EQ to tune the room. All right, so it's time for my sound check. I tune the room. We go through, do our sound check. Now, the easy way for us to get back to, because we had another engineer coming after us, the easiest way for us to get back to was to take pictures of the console.
Yeah.
So you took pictures of the console so you knew where your settings were.
That was our recall back in the day.
Right? So live, right? There wasn't no digital consoles. So you took a picture of everything. We had a digital EQ, 31 band graphic EQ. I tune the room, I save my settings, bam. We go off, we do our sound check, we come back, it's time for the show. Robin Thicke is murdering the stage. Like, just, it's like, oh my goodness. Now, normally, my artist is going after another artist, when I come out and they're still playing, I have earphones in, earplugs in, because I want to keep my ears fresh. And so I'll keep earplugs in. But this time, I took my earplugs out, and I'm listening. I'm like, man, this mix is amazing. It's better be good because we're gonna murder them, right? So it's come time, changeover. Stage is being changed over. Now I'm resetting my console, looking at my pictures, resetting, boom, 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 boom. Reset the console. It's time to start the show. House lights go down. First note, I said, I know I'm in the church. I said, I'm not going to do that. The cuss police over here, right? I said, I'm looking, guys. It sounds horrible. It sounded absolutely horrible. And I'm like, what is going on? The entire show, I'm looking up, and I'm looking over at my front of house tech like, you're not gonna help me? And he's like, it's your show. You're the guy. You're killing it. You're going. And so we get to his hit song, which is a song called Just Friends. A lot of low end, real thick, it's this great song. He sings over the vocal. It's amazing. I didn't get right until that song, which is the last song in the set. When we finished, blam, thank you, good night. I took my stuff stuff. I was putting it in the bag. I walked off. The band was taken back to the hotel in the van. I walked back to the hotel. I called my wife on the phone. And I was bawling, crying like a baby. I don't know why I'm doing this. This is stupid. I shouldn't be out here.
Who else had that? I've had that phone call.
I was like, oh my God, it was just the most horrible show, and I might be doing the wrong thing, right? I might be doing the wrong thing. Can anybody tell me why my show was so bad? Anybody?
Ooh.
I want to give this away.
Go ahead.
Someone
But I
can tell
know the
me.
story.
Go ahead.
Boom.
You didn't turn on the digital EQ.
That's close enough. Come get this.
Nice.
I did not recall my EQ settings. I did everything else. Here, give that to him. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Great answer. Great answer. I did not recall those settings. What did this teach me? Did this teach me to recall settings?
No.
No. It taught me to be humble.
Be humble.
I am no greater or no less than everybody that is responsible for the show or the church service. I'm no greater, I'm no worse. If nobody comes to you after you've mixed and said anything to you about your mix, good. You had a great day.
That's it.
Now, there'll be some people that'll come and they might know, and it might be one of us or an engineer, and we'll say, hey, man, good mix, or that was like, oh, I like how you did thus and so, or whatever. Yes, that's when we're talking shop. But the average person and your leadership, now sometimes leadership will say, it sounded good today. Just take that, don't even pack it in your suitcase of compliments. Just forget that they said it, because the one time that you get that massive blast of feedback, and you can't find it, and you're like, and you're muting, and you're
laughing because you've all been there.
Right? Yeah, that's why you're laughing. You've been there. You've done that. And people, this is the worst, guys. All right, so you guys are mixing, right? This is the worst.
Yep. That's it.
Yeah, like it's not you.
Turn around looking.
Right? When they turn around and look at you like you don't hear that, you can't fix that.
That's when you go like that.
All right, so that's my horrible story for.
Right.
But I from that moment on, I don't care how good I think it sounds. To Shelton's point, the mix is always evolving, and it can sound better. Now, when you're mixing in church, there is a moment. It's a brief moment when the Holy Spirit is moving in the church, in you, in the mix, and you can raise your hand, but you better put one back down.
Yeah, I don't ever raise both hands.
You better put a hand down.
Oh, yeah.
You could be, if you're going to dance, you better dance in place. But you have your hand on that vocal or on them VCAs and DCAs. Because anything is liable to break off and happen.
Don't raise both hands or don't close both eyes.
Oh, no.
Right.
Let us pray.
That's great. I kind of just want to double back on something you said about being humble. You know, you often hear the term comparison is a thief of joy, right? And so I have a little example as well. So this year, I had a chance to mix monitors for a jazz artist out of New Orleans. And it was on an Avid S6L. And at the time, I hadn't mixed on an S6L before. I've mixed on other Avid consoles. So luckily enough, I was able to get a show file and kind of make it my own. And I did my thing, and I was ready for the show day. It was in Atlanta, so I knew the local production company. So I went a day ahead of my set and got myself together on the console. And we went in on show day, and we were the second to last band to play on that day. And the band that was coming after me, how many of you know the jazz artist Ledisi? Have you ever heard of Ledisi before? Amazing, amazing artist, amazing. So, I know. So Ledisi was closing the show that night. And so I'm on stage, I'm mixing monitors, I'm doing my thing in my band, and I'm killing it. Just like what you like to say. I'm like, I got this. And I'm on an S6L today, first time. I'm feeling pretty good. I got my effects going. The band is asking for this, and they're like, yeah, great, good stuff. And after the show, they were like, yeah, man, it was a great mix. It sounds good. We'd like to have you again, da-da-da-da-da. And so during changeover, Ledisi's guy comes in and says, hey, Byron, great job, good sounding mix. I'm kind of feeling myself a little bit, you know? And he loads his show file, and they go into their first song, and I was like, what? Wow, it sounds, and mind you, they're on tour, so they've got their stuff locked in, so they're good to go. I was like, this stage sounds incredible. And I thought my stage sounded good. And I was like, I went off, and I was like, you know what? I don't feel so bad, because I did really good for my set. I did good for my set, but he's killing his set. Man. So I got his Instagram, and we're friends. We're good friends today, man, and we talk about audio all the time. And so you don't have to compare yourself to other people. I know that happens a lot, but man, if you do your job to the best of your ability, you will always do a good job.
But always be growing your ability.
That's true.
Yeah. So when we were on the way over here, I started writing some things down, and I got a list here. And one of the things that had the most little bullet points was a topic I wanted to talk on. We didn't discuss this, but when things go wrong, and this was the biggest section of my notes. What do you do when things go wrong? I had an event, this just recently, a mix for an organization called the John Maxwell Organization. So he's a leadership coach. And so I had John Maxwell on stage. He's doing his big thing at the end of the event that we're on. And he goes to move, and his belt pack catches on the chair. Oh, no. And it falls off onto the ground. And at that, my hand was already on the fader, because that's my job. I've got one job to do. When you're mixing corporate events, I got one job to do, and that's to keep my finger on that fader for that man who's paying me through somebody else. All right? Finger on the fader constantly. Where's that where's the edge of that feedback? What can I do to fix it? All of a sudden, he gets up, and that thing catches, and I see it, and I go, whoop. Okay, so that's a save. That's a save. But everybody in the room's freaking out. Everybody's looking at me like, what's going on? What's going on? What do we do? Well, he gets up, and the thing had completely detached. It was a completely, like, ripped the cable off the pack. So I called my A2. I was like, hey, bring another microphone. Bring him a handheld. Bring him a handheld. Bring him a handheld. He had gone, I love this guy, but he had gone somewhere else. He had left the stage, and he was not anywhere close to the stage to bring him a mic. So our stage manager, we can go over this, stage manager brings him a microphone, because you got to have people backup. Yeah. He brings him a mic. Well, John's not a guy who uses a handheld. He likes to use both hands. So he gets on the mic, and he starts doing this. He starts talking, oh, I got to talk into this, don't I? Oh, and so he's back and forth. Well, they bring another mic out to him. He goes to put it on. It's caught on his jacket. Oh, gosh. And it sounds completely different. And I'm like, the mic is broken. The mic is broken. I'm talking to my producer, and she gets on the radio and bring him another mic. So he's now got a broken mic. He's got a bad sounding mic, and he starts talking about how, what am I paying for?
Yikes.
Oh, what am I paying for? We got to get better gear. And no, we had top of the line gear. It was like really, really, really good stuff. And it just happens. What do you do when things go wrong? So here's my takeaway from this. Everybody looks back at the board. Well, we're calm. We didn't freak out. I know what I can control in that moment. I can't walk on stage. Like I'm 300 feet from the stage. I'm not going to run up there and try to help him. I got somebody who's supposed to be there doing it. Well, that part of it fell apart. But somebody else took care, brought him a mic. What do we do? What do we do? Everybody's looking at me. What do we do? I'm like, they're taking care of it. We can't do anything else about this. It's just going to play out. And this is for a recording. This is for broadcast. This is for use later on. He's going to package this up and sell it. So now all of a sudden the editor's got way more work to do to put this back together to make it look like nothing happened. But the takeaway, don't freak out. Let other people do their jobs. Trust in the process that you've got. Hopefully you have a process ahead of time, which is, hey, if this happens, bring this mic. Lock it. Turn it on and lock the power. Always be like calm, because you can only control what you can control in that moment. And so we got done with the event, and I thought, I am fired. I'm never doing this thing again. We get done with the event, and you know what the main takeaway was from the people who were sitting in the booth with me, who were hiring me, was, you are so calm when things go wrong. And I was like, that's a learned, that's first of all, it's a learned thing, because normally I freak out about stuff like that. But it's learned. So you have a learned behavior. Be calm. Don't freak out. Take care of what you can do. But the other thing is, when something goes wrong and it's not your thing, don't get caught up in what that is. Because in that moment, I had the lighting guy who was asking me, what can you do? And I'm thinking, why is he asking me what I can do? Because he's lighting. And in the moment, and I've had this happen in the past where something's gone wrong and I start getting distracted about what's going on and I miss my mark. So when something goes wrong, realize what you can do, realize where it's yours, and then realize that there is more happening, and the way that you fix things is you make your next transition happen as if nothing happened. So shrug it off, keep going, concentrate on what your job is, keep going. But that was one of my worst things. It was like, what are we gonna do? I'm like, well, trust the process. Bring him a mic, we'll keep going.
So I'm not going to talk about my worst thing that's ever happened, because there's been so many, you know. But what that tells you is, A, don't get discouraged when you have a bad day, right? You are going to have bad days. I know now, even to this time in my life, if I'm not rested, I have to mix way more technically than I do creatively, because I have to rely on just the technology. When I'm rested, I can mix more emotionally if I'm in church and creating those spaces and those atmospheres. You're going to have bad days. How are you going to recover? A huge percentage of what we do is troubleshooting, is managing catastrophes, right? Especially in a church space where most people don't even know what they're doing on stage with microphones and all that kind of stuff. Right? Those things are going to happen. Do not feel bad when they do happen, although you're going to, because you care. If you didn't care, then you wouldn't feel bad. But we've all had those days, and we've all felt the same way. I can promise you, we've not been together when those things have happened to us, but we have all felt the exact same thing, right? So you're going to have those days. And how you manage it, how you deal with it, is going to be how you make it out. And so much of it comes back to knowing and understanding your tools, right? If a cable goes bad, if you don't know how to look for that real quick, you don't know how to change that real quick. If a battery dies, what happened? Well, the battery just died. Get somebody to change the battery and keep it moving. You know, they're not catastrophic, earth-shattering events. They just seem like it in the moment. So anyway, let's talk about that second question about speaker placement.
Yeah. So BT, I'd love you to jump in on this, because this is really your strong suite amongst all four of us. Speaker placements is all about, I mean, you're talking about in a room, in an arena, or whatever the size is, it's all about coverage. It's not about loudness, right? Sometimes you'll find that you've deployed a PA system for 1,000 people, and in all honesty, the PA system that you have is only gonna cover 500-600 people. And so you need more PA. I've seen a lot of shows where there's just not enough PA to cover the audience. And so to mitigate that, usually, if you're using some of the mid to high-end PA systems, they come with prediction softwares that you can use to kind of map out your room or your space to see what your coverage looks like and how many boxes you're gonna need to cover your space. If you don't have a PA system that has that, then you can take some measurements in your room. You can find out from the manufacturing website of the PA how far the PA throws at what SPL level and how wide the display is, so that you can kind of get an average of where each speaker is covering, okay? For example, in this room, when we came into tune, I didn't even measure front to back, because I knew this size of speaker is gonna be more than enough to cover this room. And so we just made sure we had enough speaker placement side to side so we can cover the chairs all the way on the outside and have enough to cover the middle as well. And ideally, we would have loved to have a front fill right here to cover the front, but I don't think it's necessary. It's loud enough. It's loud enough in here for us to hear without us having to disturb the outside environment of whatever else is going on. And so you always have to look at your coverage as opposed to how loud you can get your PA system. Because the more speakers you have, think about it like that, the more speakers you have, the lower you can lower your volume down, right? And if you get your gain structure right and you have enough PA, you'd have a way better quality sounding PA than as opposed to having to push your gain so high and push your output so high. And I mean, BT, is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, yeah, like you're talking about how the room is laid out. So where your speakers go, the answer is really it depends. It depends on what your coverage needs to be. So like what your target area of the audience is going to be. So if you don't know where your audience is going to be, that's a very good question to ask if you're setting up for an event. First thing, ask the project manager, whoever's putting on the event, hey, where are the chairs going to be? And then try to figure out, based on the gear that you've got, which we're going to talk about more later on, which is show prep. So if you're talking about a show that's coming up, you start asking questions before the event happens. What am I going to have on site? How many of those am I going to have on site? Is there going to be music? Is there not going to be music? Is it just a panel like this? What kind of expected loudness are we going to have? I have some clients who want music blasting. When they walk on stage, they want something just pumping in the room for walk-on music. Well, that requires a PA that can actually do that. Some don't care. Some are going to walk up and they don't care, so you can get away with just some very simple speakers on stands. If you're mixing a band and you want full range coverage and you want super loud SPL and you're like 100 or so, you want to be in that range, then you're going to need a big PA with a lot of coverage, a lot of amplification. And the worst thing you can do with a PA that's undersized is to push it too hard, because then you have induced harmonic distortion. There's distortion from the speakers, the amplifiers, and you end up redlining everything. And it's kind of like a DJ that's just turned up way too loud. It's one of the worst sounding things you can have, and it actually damages the speakers. So you might get a call later on, hey, you blew the tweeters, or you blew the mid-range, or whatever drivers, you blew the subwoofers. Well, in a way, they didn't send enough gear, but in a way, it's kind of your responsibility because you damaged the gear from turning it up too loud.
Yeah, let me, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to jump in on that because I believe we've all experienced this before, and this is what's the word I can use? This is, I don't want to use warning, it's too strong of a word, but this is a message to the production companies out here. Don't be stingy with your gear. If you've quoted the client 10 boxes of PA and it turns out to not be enough, maybe they added another tent or they added another 100 people and your PA can't cover that, talk to your audio guy, and if he says, yeah, we need more PA, send something out and to cover that, because it's going to make you look good and it's going to give you more sales. How many times have we been on gigs and we're like, oh, we need more stuff here, and we're able to get some more stuff and cover it. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But if you're able to, send more gear out so that you can have better coverage, and it'll save your PA as well so that you don't have to push it so hard and end up blowing something, like you were saying.
Yeah. To get to the actual question, though, where, like, speaker placement. So I've done some events in spaces that are wonderful. I've done some spaces that are challenging. We were talking about this earlier. Churches, sometimes very reverberant spaces, like a stone and glass church, or maybe a hall, like an assembly hall, where it's just drywall and concrete floor and very little in terms of what's going to absorb sound. You're going to want to place your speakers in a spot that's not going to reflect off of surfaces. You want them to be kind of directed at the audience in the intended position where they're going to be. And knowing this, too, when you come in the room and you're setting up, the room is empty. And when you get people in there, now all of a sudden you've got however many guests you have, a couple hundred people maybe, whatever it is, a couple thousand, just absorbent bags of, we're giant bags of water, right? We're fluid, and we absorb sound as people. And so when you have a room that's full of people, it's going to sound way different than it did when you tuned the room at noon. At 6 p.m. when you're assembling the crowd, it's going to sound way different. So keep that in mind. It's going to get better than it started in terms of reverb, in the reverb tail of the room, the time it takes for the sound to kind of die down. And then placement also has to do with subwoofers. So if you're talking about subwoofers, you handle that differently than you would your main speakers. And so as an acoustician putting together a PA, subwoofers are good to put together. And there's an effect called the power alley. And if you have subs on the left and right, and I know it's happening here, sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes you have a stage and you're like, you have to put the sub here and you got to put a sub over there. What happens is like rocks in a pond, it creates a ripple effect. And right in the middle, you get this joining of the waves, almost like waves in the water. The sound works just like water. And drop a rock in a pond, creates an outward spiral of sound. Generally, it won't go in one direction. It goes in all directions, especially lower frequencies. But you have left and right subs. You have this joining of the waves right up through the middle, and it's the loudest in the middle. But if you think about it and you put the subs close together in the center of the stage, under the stage, in front of the stage, then you can have this unified kind of wave that goes out. And instead of being a small diameter drop in a pond, it's like somebody dropped an entire house in the water and it goes out. So there's ways of doing this. You can steer things electronically if you have a more advanced sound system where you can create negative sound energy behind so that most of your sound goes forward. There's all kinds of different subwoofer techniques to create directional audio. And the way that large PAs work with line arrays, where you've got 10, 12, 15, 30 boxes hanging from the grid, those PAs work really well because what they're doing is they're taking the sound that would normally appear once from like a speaker that's just a single, simple speaker. Instead of it being a point in the sky, now it's happening all together at the same time, and it comes out in a wave. Just like I said, when you drop a house in a pond, it creates a giant forward front of sound. A line array works like that. Line array speakers can work like that, where it creates a unified front of sound that goes out. So if you have the chance to work on a giant PA, who all works on large PAs in this room? Anybody? Is it all just kind of like single speakers?
There's a couple of hands went up.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with either one. It's just you get more coverage from a giant PA. You get more coverage in the distance from a line array. You get more coverage in like a horizontal with the smaller speakers. And one other thing too, when you're talking about placement, you have the stage, and let's say you have somebody wearing a headset or a lavalier mic that's clipped on. If your speaker walks out to the edge of the stage and they have the mic down here, if they're too close to that, it's going to cause feedback. We've all experienced it. No amount of equalization or some sort of magic DSP software is going to fix that. There's things you can do to mitigate it, but the speaker placement plays a large part in that. So if you know you're going to have somebody with a lavalier, you want to get the speakers at least in a place where the microphone can't hear. Like I call it, the microphone can't hear the speaker. And that's the beginning of feedback. Feedback is the sound emanates from the voice, goes to the microphone, hits the speaker, it comes back into the microphone. So anything you can do to lower the chance of the sound from the speaker coming back into that microphone, that lowers your chance of feedback. I know this is very basic, but sometimes it just has to be said that the physics that are involved, you gotta get the speaker to a place where it's not going to come back into that microphone. No, handhelds are great because they have a lot of rejection, and I got to be really purposeful, stick that microphone in the speaker to create feedback. But I don't know, does that answer the question?
I want you guys come with your question. I want you guys to think about something. Like a lot of you, do we understand the difference? And I don't know if you'll get into this, BT. The difference between a line source and a point source.
Explain.
Talked about it for just a sec.
Well, say again?
I talked about it for just a sec, but yeah,
Right.
there is a difference.
Right, there's a huge difference, but the popular thing now is a line array. Like that is like, oh, people want to know, do you have a line array? But a line array might not be the best tool for the job. And then a lot of people will take a box that is in a line array, and let's say they put 5 of them up on a hoist of some sort, and they'll say, oh yeah, we have a line array. Well, that's not a line array. That's a point source.
Yeah.
And so know your terminology and know the tool so that when that placement is happening, you're using the speaker for the tool. Using the tool for the job. Not just throwing up something and saying, hey, I have the best highfalutinous, that's a southern term, highfalutinous. I have the best speaker system and it's going to be great. No, because I think we've all done this. I've walked into some churches that had like a D&B, maybe point source array, maybe have 2 boxes here, 2 boxes there, and that thing sounded killer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so it's the tool for the job.
Yeah. So line array, we're talking about line arrays. The software, it can help in predicting what it's going to sound like in the room. So Byron and I work on a PA that's made by JBL. It's called the A series, and they have great software for predicting the angles the boxes have to be, and it is very scientific. There's a lot of physics involved, and there's a lot of DSP, signal processing, that's happening. But it starts with knowing the room, knowing the coverage that you need, and then plugging that in to the software. It tells you the angles that the boxes have to be, and then ultimately, at the end of the day, through networking, it can send that configuration to the amplifiers that then configure the outputs to what it needs to be. And so you can have lower volume in the front of the stage and louder volume as it goes out, and that way you get coverage that can go a couple hundred feet. That's where line arrays work, but you have, like you were talking about, you have to have enough of a line array, like it has to be long enough for line arrays to work. You can't have a line array with 4 or 5 boxes. It just doesn't work. It's not big enough.
Right.
The physics don't work. It becomes a single point source. It might as well just be one speaker making a lot of noise. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I think it is. My name is George Mavuna Church. I have a question, a more like a fundamental basics question. Earlier on, Byron was able to impressively catch the 500K frequency. So I was asking, I'm sure he did not start that way. How do we, even as engineers, train our ears to be able to identify frequency or pick out frequencies that we are able know the troublesome frequencies or something like that? Is there like an exercise you'd recommend or thing that you'd recommend that we could use to be able to train our ears to get to know those frequencies?
You can get online tools that will just literally play tones in different frequencies, right? And
So sorry.
Oh, that was you?
I was, I had,
It came through the PA, so I was like, where's that
he was trying to do something, and it didn't go over so well.
That was a bunch of frequencies.
But there are plenty of tools, and literally everything you hear in the world is made up of frequencies, right? You know, when I'm doing training at churches, I'll tell people everything you hear is made up of frequencies, and just think of what you're hearing as a pie, and each sliver of that pie is a different frequency, and that's how you can learn to get rid of feedback without just having to turn the whole fader down. You know how you get feedback? You just go like that because you have to get rid of the feedback. Well, if you learn how to manage frequency and hear frequencies when you get feedback, if you turn that frequency down, you'll get rid of the feedback without having to pull the fader down. But you can go online and look for ear training, tones,
Yeah.
and it'll give you all manner of frequencies to listen to. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz is the normal hearing range for human beings. I can't hear 20 hertz and I can't hear 20K anymore. I probably can only hear up to like 16 at this point. But that's how you will learn to tune your ears. Because you'll start after a while to go, okay, yeah, I need some 3K, or I need to cut some 250 or some 500 or whatever. You'll get it. Just take the time to do it in your time when you're doing whatever you're doing. Be an audio dork, an audio geek, and go listen to those things. And those are the things that'll help you be able to tune your ears to understanding and hearing frequency.
there is one of the apps that is in the Apple App Store. I'm quite sure it's in the Google store. I don't know what those things exist here.
Yeah.
App
Yeah.
Store.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, everybody calm down.
Don't let them fight you now. Don't let them fight
Well,
you.
I just, I know we're forward thinkers, but I don't know what okay, so anyway. So, like, for example, there's this one here I have called, one of the ones I have is called Analyzer. And it gives you 5 tones from 16K, from 16K down to 50K. So, like, here's that 1K that we talked about. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
Yeah,
but
it's coming through.
that was that 500. That's 200.
Come on, man.
Right? So it's tones, right? So
It doesn't feel good.
I'm quite sure on YouTube, especially, there's probably something that will take
Yes.
you through third
Also,
octave.
YouTube.
Yep.
Third
You can
octave.
yes.
And just really just listen and remember that if you didn't write that down, remember that and practice this. If you know what 1K sounds like, then if it's above 1K, you at least know what range to start in. And if it's below, you know the range to start in. So you can it's just like a pianist knowing what a G flat major chord is. That comes from, some people have perfect pitch.
Right.
You have perfect pitch?
No.
But some people have relative pitch, and then some people are tone deaf and need tools. And don't be don't be shy if you don't have perfect pitch and you just can't call out that frequency. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Like some people have that and some people don't. And it's all right.
But you can train your ears to hear frequency without having perfect pitch. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just watched a YouTube thing a couple weeks ago, and it was musical-based.
I was just
pitch
about to
training.
say. I was just about to say the same thing.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I'll ace this. No, it kicked my butt. It was interesting. It's kind of hard to describe. It was a chord that was played, and then they would change a note in the middle of the chord, and they were asking, is that higher or lower? And which note in the chord changed? And I thought, oh yeah, it's higher. And they're like, no, it was lower. I was like, wait a minute. So I learned. In that moment, I learned that I thought that I had it, and I realized that I needed a little more. So it's like we're talking about, this whole thing of sound is a lifetime of learning. And so yeah, YouTube, I forget what it was called. I have to look back through my history and see what it was. But there's tons of training. There's apps for training pitch. Let's say that you don't have perfect pitch. There's ways to find with the tune whatever's feeding back. I've got an app on my phone it's based on the Rational Acoustics Smart, and it lets me see which frequency is peaking, and I can click on it, and it'll say, oh, that's 250. And you pull it down, and you watch, and you see it go down. It's like, oh, I got it. Now, let's say that you don't have any of these tools. Let's say you just have the mixer in front of you, and you got a problem frequency. Let's say you're mixing a vocalist. This happens a lot with vocals. Every vocalist has what they call chest tone. So as you're mixing a singer and they put that mic right up on their lips and they're eating the mic like this, you're going to get a tone that happens for every singer. And so for males, females, it's all kind of different. And everyone's got this different chest tone. And what I'll do is I'll take my mixer and during sound check, not live, I'll boost up a frequency and then I'll just sweep it back and forth. So this is like a way of using, it's live feedback. You're hearing it with your ears. You're going to boost that up, you're going to sweep it back and forth until you hear something you don't like, and you pull it back out. And then you evaluate, was that better or was that worse? And you might do that once or twice, because everybody's got usually one or two of these chest tones, and you want to yank them out. And then you combine that with some high pass, and you can get a decent vocalist sound quickly, just using a sweeping technique and then pulling that frequency out. It works on more than just vocals too. It works on drums, it works on guitars, works on keys, bass, mandolin. We got this awful instrument called a banjo.
Annoying.
They're hard to mix.
Yeah, hi. My name is Jackson, and I have a question for you. For some of us, we're not fortunate enough to have things like smarts because the expenses and all that. So what are the things you consider when you're tuning your PA, when you don't have the smart and all that? Is it just about cutting off the sharp frequencies or? And then my second question is this station being recorded and how can we get access to it later? Thank you.
What was the second question?
I got it. He was asking if it's being recorded and if we're going to give it out at the end. It is being recorded. We're still debating on whether or not it'll be made available in its whole sum to the public, because it would be unfair to you all to have that out in the public because you paid to be here.
Correct.
And someone else is getting it for free. It would be a shame. So we're thinking of some options, maybe a private login site or something like that. And as long as we have all your information, we'll be able to update you on that. So it's still something in the works that we're thinking about. But it is being recorded, yes.
So any one of us can jump in on this, I think, because We all have our own music that we trust in our heads. So I will play, if I don't have access to the tools, I will play something that I know really, really well. Something I've heard for a long time, or something that I feel like I really know, and I'll listen to it. And so in that moment, I'm utilizing a skill that's been developed, which is to listen critically to the music for the parts that are in the music. You play it at different volumes, because a PA is going to sound different at volume, concert volume, than it's going to sound just in walk-in. It's going to sound different. There's something called the Fletcher-Munson curve, and that has to do with loudness, the perceived loudness as a human being that we hear. So listen to it at a volume that you expect for the music you're going to be doing, or if you're doing spoken word, listen to it at a lower volume. But listen to something you trust and start playing with frequencies. Maybe then also get a microphone out and talk into that microphone, or have somebody on stage talking through that microphone. And then also realize that sometimes if you're doing an event, it's not being recorded, not being streamed, not being nothing else done except in that room. Your sole job in that moment is to make the spoken word sound good in the room. So it really doesn't matter how the PA sounds, it's how the microphone sounds coming through the PA. And so there's really no such thing as tuning at that point. It's really, if you realize there's an overall tonality that's not correct, you're going to correct for that once, and then each microphone is easier to deal with, because you don't want to have to apply the same cut on every single microphone. You do that once on the PA, and that way you have more flexibility for each person that uses a particular mic. But yeah, y'all?
Yeah, I think that's right, because like, for example, here in this room, after we kind of tuned it a little bit yesterday, I didn't even do my normal process. I would put all these mics in a group and then EQ them to my liking, just so I can prevent doing that, cutting on every single mic. But once we got the room tuned yesterday, the only thing I did on these microphones is just a high pass, and then I took out a little bit of 200 hertz, and they sound pretty good for what we're doing here. And like you mentioned, again, tonality is important. So if you listen to a song, and it has to be a good quality, high fidelity song that you trust, that you can listen to, and you know what it's supposed to sound like, you know, and they put it through the PA and something just doesn't sound right. That's your good indicator to kind of fix some of the issues that you're having. It's a great way to tune a PA pretty quickly.
One of the things, I use 3 different steps in my tuning process. I'll use an analyzer first, which is more perfect than my ears. I could share some things a little later on. I don't know, what time is lunch again? 12 or 12:30?
So I just got word that lunch has been pushed back to 12:30. It was supposed to be 12.
Okay.
That's good. Let's go. This is good.
Yeah, it is good.
You guys good? You need a break?
If you need to go to the bathroom or anything, just feel free to go up and come back. But yeah, lunch is now at 12:30.
Okay.
I hope that's okay with everybody.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the 3 steps are an analyzer first, a microphone second, and then music last. Now, I know some outstanding engineers that only use music. But I found that this was what works best for me, and especially I can attend to what we call the star vocal, so the main vocal element, microphone element. If I can deal with that and get that and work everything else around that, that's what I do. So once I deal with anomalies that I see that jump out on the analyzer using pink noise, then I will move to my microphone and I will ring the PA out. So I'm turning the microphone up. I want to make it feedback. And I want to find that frequency. But the goal is, there's this fine balance of, do I take this out of the microphone or do I take it out of the PA? You assign microphones to groups, which is brilliant, by the way. I'm stealing that all the way, right? when you have multiple microphones that you have to EQ the exact same way, you might as well do that. And the reason the microphone is important I'll keep explaining that. So I'll keep turning it up to try to make it feedback. So, and now the microphone is in front of the PA while I'm doing that. So if I can make it feedback and deal with that with a subtle adjustment, not a gross adjustment, not 7 or 8 dB, but 2 or 3 dB, then I know that I'm going to be stable with this microphone behind the PA, right? Then tonally, the whole idea of the microphone is to amplify the person's voice that is speaking in it, right? Or singing in it. Well, if I'm talking in this microphone and it doesn't sound like me, that's a red flag, right? So I want to make the microphone sound like me in my tuning process. And so if it's boomy, if it's real mid-rangey, if it's honky, if it's brittle or bright, I know where to go and what adjustments to make. And then I do music. You think we can do that music exercise?
Yeah,
Remember what we talked about?
Yep.
Like before lunch, or what do you think? After lunch.
Right after. Yeah.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're going to go through a couple, 1 or 2, 3 songs individually of what we would use to tune our PAs and let you all know. I don't know how we'll do it, if we'll ask you what do you hear, but we'll let you know what we're listening for in order to make adjustments in the PA. And for the 4 people up here, I guarantee you there's going to be different songs, and they're going to be made in different adjustments. We would suggest different. We're not going to make those suggestions here. Make the changes here. But what we would do, what we're listening for, that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah, and I kind of want to touch on your microphone feedback situation in your process. So here's a cool little trick. As a monitor engineer, what I usually do is I'll do the same thing. I'm pushing my mics up in my monitors, or wedges, depending on what you call them, and I'm forcefully trying to make it feedback. And when I get it to feedback, sometimes one frequency might stick out, or a couple might stick out, and I start to pull them back, and I push it a little more and see if anything else comes out, and I push it back, and I go more and more. And the more I go up, and I start seeing the same frequency sticking out, then I'm too loud.
Correct.
And I'm too loud. I need to come back. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're pushing a mic and it's the same frequency that's giving you issue, now you're having a volume issue. So just pull back. And I guarantee you, by the time you get there, you got plenty of headroom to work with from there. So that's a cool little trick.
There is such a thing as overdoing the EQ when you're trying to ring out a system. If you find yourself cutting 15 frequencies on a graphic, you've gone too far.
Right.
You've just turned it down.
Right.
You might as well just flatten it back out and start over. And sometimes that is the thing to do. You just start over and do it again. And sometimes the environment changes, temperature, humidity, people in the room, where the microphone is on stage makes a big difference. I love the idea of putting the mic out in front of the PA, though. I might steal that one. I have done for like a headset or a lavalier, I'll take it and put it on a mic stand, center stage, on a mic stand, so that it is in the space it's going to be used in, and try to push it, and then just cut out the first 2, 3, 4 frequencies that start feeding back. And after that,
that's good.
I'm going to stop, because if I keep trying to cut it, it'll just be a mess later on.
It changes the sound of your microphone too.
Right.
You don't want to have $1,000 microphone sounding like a $20 microphone.
Right.
And that mic's going to sound different on somebody's body or on their face than it would just on the mic stand itself.
And to Shannon's point, with all of these things involved, but to Shannon's point, I will try to have a conversation with whoever the person is that's speaking. And the reason I'm having that conversation is not to become their friend. I want to hear what their natural voice sounds like, right? So I want to get their natural voice coming through the PA. Now, there could be a frequency in their voice that's problematic. So we might have to cut a little bit of that, but ultimately want that person to sound like that person.
Like themselves, yeah.
Try my best not to ever have a lavalier mic. I hate them.
Yeah.
Lavalier mics are the devil.
Oh,
It's a joke.
Beelzebub himself.
Yeah, lavalier mics are very, very difficult to just deal with, especially in scenarios where the person on stage, especially if it's a preacher, and I'm going to say it, we know how black church, how we can be with pastors and monitors, right? We want them loud, right? The lavalier is your worst nightmare in that scenario. So I'll give him an ear or make him, because I will not let the pastor of my church wear a lavalier. He wants one bad. I told him absolutely not. We just had a meeting the other day and said absolutely not.
The chuckles was like, yeah, no, we're not telling the
We're not
pastor.
doing it. Yeah, but here's the thing, right? In order to get your pastor to listen to you, to say that,
Yes.
he's got to trust you,
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're constantly having issues, he's not going to trust you. But if you get yourself together and understand these concepts, that pastor will trust you and say, okay, until we can find something that works, I'll listen to you.
I got a great scenario in my church. I mix monitors in a pretty big church. It's a mega church, right? And it's a lot older people. So the choir is much older, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And usually when the band is playing, it's super loud, and we're using all monitors. There's no in-ears, right? And to give you a scenario, it's like now on the pulpit, this is the front of the stage. The pastor has his monitors, and the clergy, they have their monitors and everything. And then behind, the choir, they have their monitors. And so I've mixed the pastor's mic pretty well on his mix in his monitors. It sounds great. And the clergy, it sounds good. And then for the choir, they always used to complain, I can't hear pastor, I can't hear pastor. When I give them more in their mix, it's still not enough, it's still not enough. So this is what I did. I double patched, do you know what that means? I double patched the pastor's mic, and I took the original mic patch out of the choir's wedge and gave them the double and made it loud as heck back there without having to mess with pastors' gains or anything down here. And I've never gotten any complaints again about that. Sometimes they even tell me, turn it down, it's a little
That's
too
over at
loud.
Beulah?
Yep.
Oh, that's a nice move right there.
Yep. They've
I've
never
subbed
complained.
for him
You're
at
kind, I won't
Beulah.
do
So
that.
What'd you say?
You're kind, I won't do that. I won't let a monitor guy do that, because that's going to put a lot of volume in my front of house.
Well, see, I'm on Dante, so
he's selfish.
Oh, okay.
I'm on
I am.
Dante, so it's
I'm
fine.
a selfish front of house
So,
guy.
so I wanted to, when we're in this feedback place right now. So, one definition that I live by when it comes to feedback is when the source goes through the PA and comes back to the microphone as loud as the source is what creates feedback, right? So I want you all to get comfortable with a term called the fill gain pattern. This is not in my presentation. I don't know if it's in any of theirs. The fill gain pattern, F-I-L-L, gain, G-A-I-N, pattern, right? Every microphone has one. So this is what's happening, why you should look at your gain versus a fader or another adjustment somewhere else. So you have your microphone, and imagine this, my hand is the fill gain pattern. This is your gain all the way down. As you turn your gain up, this is what happens.
Yep.
So you want to keep your fill gain pattern as tight as possible, right? So you have microphones with different patterns and things of that nature and rejection and all of that. Outside of that, can you turn it down? But you got to know where you're turning it down. So in Byron's scenario, when he's making these adjustments and he keeps pushing to see where that point is, and he gets to a point where it's too loud, you have to decide, well, where should I turn it down? Should I just turn the gain down just a little bit? And I'm just talking about a dB. A dB or two will do massive.
Oh, yes.
Can be massive for you. And if your gain structure is right, you will hear a dB. If somebody says turn something down a dB and you make that adjustment and they don't hear it, your gain structure is off, right? So you want to keep your fill gain pattern as tight as possible. And so we want to get the source, I'm the source, as close to the mic element as possible, right? And then we want to keep that pattern tight so we're not allowing any other frequencies or any other sources inside that fill gain pattern. If you can keep that physics in your mind when you're making your gain, when you're setting your gain structure, that will allow you to keep stability at the forefront of whatever it is that you're doing.
So that was a lot. Does anybody not understand what he was talking about? Please do not hesitate to raise your hand if you don't. That makes sense to everybody?
Maybe it'd be good to talk about it in a different, maybe a slightly different way.
Yeah, sure.
So this often happens when you have a vocalist. Let's say you've got a praise team and you got wedges, you got monitor speakers, and they hear themselves loud, and so they pull the mic back.
Oh my God.
How many of y'all deal with that?
Yeah.
So a lot of times what happens is they'll pull back and then they'll say, I can't hear myself. Well, they're afraid to put the mic back on their face. They're afraid to eat the mic. So what you do in that circumstance, and this all really kind of goes back to something we haven't covered yet, which is the relationship that you have with your musicians on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to have some relational change with them, which is you've got to have some buy-in, life buy-in. They know who you are. They know your kids. You know their kids. All right, we're talking about, we know who that person is. We've done life with them. We've talked to them about what's going on. Has nothing to do with sound. Has nothing to do with their technique. But it gives you the opportunity to say, hey, I think what could help, because you're the expert. In their mind, you're the expert. You should be the expert. But you say, hey, and I think what would help is if you pull that mic closer to you, I'll pull your gain down, which is what you're talking about, the fill gain. We're going to pull the gain down, and what that's going to do is tighten up your mic. You're going to sound better in the monitors, and it's going to allow you to sound better to the audience. And so in that moment, what you're doing is you're creating trust. When you say, I'm going to do this.
That's good.
I'm going to do this for you, and this is what I expect. So they put that mic back. Oh, man, I sound good now. I sound good in those wedges.
So much of it is psychological.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So if you find yourself in a position where you're like constantly chasing feedback, they're pulling away, I sound too loud, you almost want to say to them, I want you to sound loud in the monitors, because now I get to turn you down.
I call it a good problem.
Yeah.
Good.
I tell the singers on our worship team, I can always turn you down. I can't always turn you up. Mm-hmm. Keep that mic here. Keep that mic right here. I can turn you down as low as you need to go. But if it's here, I can't keep turning you up. Right?
Oh, everybody, do y'all have the announcement lady at y'all church? It's like, and she says that. And the first, today's birthdays.
We'd like to welcome you all.
We'd like to welcome you to the, and look, listen, let me tell you this. You know, I know there are some, we might look very, very similar, but there's some cultural differences, right? I will not turn you up.
Oh no.
I will not. And people will look and be like, we can't hear her. Tell her to put the mic up.
Yeah.
Listen, that happened to me a few weeks ago in church. So we've got two pulpits for deacons to read a Bible verse or a scripture or to pray. So this one guy, deacon, he comes up to the pulpit. I've set the mics, I've locked the power. You can't turn it off, nothing. I've set them at the right height, which I think would be good for them. And I'm way in the pit over there in monitor world. And this dude comes up to the pulpit and does this to my mic. And now
Where's
his
your
forehead
mouth?
speaks.
Where's your mouth?
And now he's reading. So I can't really see. The only time I can see is when the cameras take him and I can see it on the screens. So I'm like, I don't have nothing on this guy. And I'm tempted. I'm like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not turn him up. And then I get the shot from the camera guys and see where the mic is. I'm like, so I can't help you. I can't help you.
Can't help you.
I can't help you. It's just going to be what it is. And if the pastor looks at me, I'm just going to be like, got to put it at your mouth.
And a part of our job is education. And there's several churches that I've had to walk into that the praise and worship team just did not have good mic technique. And they talk about they can't hear themselves, and then you have the ones that think they're deep and subtle and they're trying to use the microphone to bring it in and out. Now, there's some people that can do that have done it really well. Larnell Harris is one of those people.
Daryl Coley used to do that.
Daryl Coley, right? But they have mastered that. You, Sister So-and-so, have not mastered that. And you have to, but you cannot make, oh, I love that, BT. You cannot coach and be an asset to your team if you are not in relationship. Now, you don't have to, know each other's, personal, but, be able to say good morning, ask, how are the kids today? Or how was, make small talk.
Know their name.
Know their name at least, right? Speak, say hello, good morning, whatever your normal greeting is. And so you want to build a relationship, and that relationship is building trust. And that trust will get you what you need, so no one's turning around looking at you in the back of the church or the room or the building or wherever you are. So even building that rapport quickly, I love what Shelton said about going and introducing themselves to the artist. Not only, you should introduce yourself to an artist that you're mixing. Hey, I'll be handling your front of house or your monitors today. If you have any requests, anything that you need, how can we serve you? How can we help you? They're going to be talking to you. You're going to be hearing their voice. And if you hear a whole lot of this in the microphone, but they sound like this in person, something's going on with that microphone. Right?
Facts. Yeah.
We're going to talk about this one.
Yeah, that's pretty good, huh?
So
And God!
everybody's pastor does this, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So when they do that, you know what I do?
It is what it is.
Can't fix it.
I can't help you at that point. When you hear how different I sound, how mid-rangey I got, the best thing you can do is have conversations with whoever that person is. If it's your pastor, whatever, they're not going to listen, but at least you're trying to plant a seed to say, hey, when you do this particular action, it's really hurting the way you sound. But again, they've got to trust you.
Yeah.
They've got to trust you. Because if they will trust you at the console, they'll trust your words. You would think and hope that it would go the other direction, but you have to prove to them behind the console before they will hear and trust your words.
I saw a photo one time to keep cupping from happening. They call it cupping, the mic. They put like a spiky dog or cat collar, so it has like these spikes coming out. And there's no way. Well, I guess you could. You might hurt yourself. But it was a very good deterrent.
I like that too. I've seen that.
Cupping the mic.
It looks cool and people think it's right, but
If
maybe
you're a
sometimes
rappers, I was going to say that.
Rappers, but you got to let them know. Like sometimes you might say, "Pastor, do you mind?" Now, if it's a guest speaker or someone that's a guest, that's a lot more difficult, right? And you have to just simply try to work around it.
Yeah.
Right? But if it's somebody who that's your shepherd or that's who you serve, then just ask them, could you come out to the front of the house and then do what you just said. This is how you sound. Mm-hmm. When you're preaching and you really want to get into it, we can't hear nothing you're saying. Can you do? No. Everything I do will make this sound worse.
Yep.
And so the pastor at the church where I work, he does it every week. He'll go from here to here.
Jeez.
Every single service.
Come on, hold your mule.
Did I say every single service?
That's not what you wanted to say, but that's what you said.
And so that's just something that I have to deal with. And so once again, that's a scenario where I can't just sit back because when he really digs in and does this, I have to pull the fader back. There's not enough EQ in the world that's going to make him sound good. And by the time I EQ him enough to make him sound good when he does this, he's completely
Yep.
gone. So it's the nature of the beast. It's
Let's take some more questions.
So,
we're
sure.
pretty close.
Sure.
I'll
We're
take
pretty
a
close.
lavalier in that case.
Yeah, right.
Right. You can't cup a lavalier. Any more questions? I see a hand right there.
Can we get the mic to him?
This guy out.
It's one over here.
Oh, there's one over there too? Okay. So we'll take that one and then that one.
Okay.
We're pretty close to lunch, guys.
You can stand up and go to him. Oh,
Yep.
all right then. Yeah.
My name is Patrick from Kabarak University. I have two questions. The first question is, when I have a gig, when I know I have a big gig, is what I'm listening to today, like throughout this week I have a gig on Saturday, is what I'm listening to right now going to matter when matters comes to tuning my gear, probably my acoustics, because we've been talking about looking for a trusted maybe piece of music that you keep the reference track that you want to use. The second question is, you're called on an emergency to do a gig. You've never pre-visited the hall. You've never pre-visited you don't know the gear that you're using. You're just being told that you have a QU32, that's it. What do you do? Quick fix. So do you turn down the job for you to save the name, or what? Do we have a quick fix to such an event? Thank you.
I do the show.
Yeah. So I'd like to answer the second question a little bit.
Go ahead.
So this is kind of what we're going to talk about this entire week, is to get you to a place where you have a process that you use gig to gig, that you know you can make any PA sound good, because you know walking in, okay, they got 4 mics, they got this mics, you know exactly what you're going to do with your process. It's personal to everybody, because I'm sure we all have different ways to do it, but if BT's doing a show and for some reason he gets sick and I'm his A2, I should be able to go to front of house and take over for him, because there's a lot of similar things that he's doing that I do in my process too, which is the foundation of where we start. And then everything else becomes personal. And then I'll be like, hey, BT, did you run your effects like this and this and this? And he'll tell me, and then I'll be able to go from there. Or I can rearrange it real quick and put it to my workflow. So it really, really, really depends on if you're going to get a workflow from what we're teaching. That's the biggest thing for you, to save you on an emergency gig. I wouldn't turn that gig down, because we all need money. So take the gig. Take the gig, have the process. Get as much information as you can from whoever is calling you for the gig, and start thinking mentally, how can I go into this gig and get myself together for it? All right?
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on a couple of things. Last minute could be Monday for this coming Saturday, or Thursday for this coming Saturday. If it's Thursday in a venue I've never been in before and I don't even know what the gear is, I'm probably gonna say no. That's me personally. If it's Monday or Tuesday and somebody says, hey, this weekend we have a thing, we need you to, I'll gather up as much information as I can. And if it's in a venue that's close enough to where I live, I'll go by the venue and just listen to the room. I'll go in there and make noise and see what reverb times are like, see what kind of anomalies are in the room. That kind of stuff will prepare you, because as I'm going to talk about in the front of house session, the biggest instrument that you have that you cannot change is the space you're in, right? You can't change the room. And so whatever room you're in, you have to work around that instrument. That room sings. Some sing well and some don't. Many don't. And so you just have to, if you can do things like that, just kind of cut down the potential problems and what you have coming up, then yeah, sure, do it. If you trust your process, right, you got to have a process. If you trust your process, if you trust your knowledge, and you trust your ability, you should be okay.
Yeah, and also look at it like this. It's an opportunity for you to go solve some problems. That's what engineering is all about.
Right, for sure.
Right? It's an opportunity for you to go in and solve some problems. You might run into something that you've never dealt with before, and it's a learning moment. And you're like, okay, I think I know how to deal with this next time. So for me, that's me. I like solving problems. I mean, as a monitor guy, we solve problems all day long. So I'll take the gig, me personally.
You know, this is interesting. This is what this master class is all about. Because we're here teaching and disseminating information, but we're also learning. I just learned. Because me, I'm not taking the gig. And it's because of how how I'm wired personality-wise. I need data. I need information. And if you can't give me that information, inside that makes me uneasy about my process. Even though my process is solid, I've used it God knows how many times, I second guess my process simply because I didn't get the information, which is normally a part of my process.
Right.
So when I get the information, it allows me to kind of get my head wrapped around, okay, what it is that we're doing. Shelton was at the church that I'm at now, Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
Shelton was there before me. Ronnie was asking me to come there for months when he left.
Right.
I was like, nah, I'm good. Because I didn't like the console. The console was a Midas Pro 6.
But they had one in the church.
Yeah. Right.
They
It's
had
Pro
one in the
6.
church.
But I had a horrible, one of my shows that I didn't mention, I had a horrible show on a Pro 6. And anytime I walked up on one, it put me back in that space, gave me all the same anxiety, all of that. So the first thing I would ask was, what kind of console is over there? And Ronnie told me, I think it's a Midas Pro 6. First of all, you don't think it's a Midas Pro 6. You know exactly what's over there. And no, I can't do it. And then this one over here, who has taught me a whole lot in his young years, he's like, you better go make that money, man. And I was like, money does sound good.
There you go.
And I went over, and now I love it. Now I feel comfortable walking up on any Pro 6, but it helped me I had to go over there and get comfortable. So sometimes it sounds, I don't know where you're at on the personality scales. Are you a person that needs data? You need the information. A part of needing that information is a crutch.
Yeah.
And will keep you from growing.
That's good.
So now I went to this church, got them to now up my salary and make me permanent. Simply because I was willing to step outside of that comfort zone and not need as much data. I started to get it, and what I needed to do was to have time with the console. And I got that time, and now I feel comfortable, which opens me up to other possibilities with that console.
Yep.
But if I would have stayed closed off, then I would have not had that opportunity to grow. Amen? All right.
Please ask your other question again.
Should I be listening to the reference track that I intend to use or what I really love using?
Well,
You talking about for tuning your PA?
Yes.
I don't think it matters because you're not listening to all that other stuff in that space, right? When you go to tune that space, then you listen to whatever you want to tune for that space.
But also too, any song so when we play these whatever songs that we're going to play, it's going to be songs that we know, that Shelton might not use this song. He might sit back and be like, man, that's a nice song. I like that.
Right.
I'll use it or I won't because it doesn't pop out to him. Something popped out to me with my songs that I used that said, oh, that highlights a little of this. And I know if that is there, then it's too much of this in the room. And so I can make those adjustments. So only tune with something that you know and trust. And when you're making adjustments, you'll know what those adjustments are.
And all those other songs are not songs that you would tune a PA with, right? Now you may have a myriad of different songs that you listen to tune. And it might include some of those other songs. Sure, listen to them. But when it comes to tuning that PA, listen to things that you know you trust.
I did want to get back to the concept of you're walking in, or you've been asked to go to a show, mix an event that is an emergency. The main thing that you got to understand about it is you got to know your own limits. A lot of times you can quickly ruin your reputation if you say yes to something you should have said no to because it was over your head. So there is a point, you can say yes if it's a little bit. Let's say it's just a little bit over your head. But if you know that you're walking down on a giant PA with a mixing desk you've never touched, on a team that you don't know, maybe you say, thank you for the call.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Keep my number, and maybe we can do this later on a different show with more advance. But let's say that you do feel comfortable saying yes to it. I used to do a lot of festivals, so music festival is like the worst time to walk in because a lot of times you won't get a sound check, you don't get any advance of the gear, you just kind of know, oh, it's going to be enough PA to cover 2,000 people, whatever it is. So you walk in, you band, you get a line check. That's all. So you go kick, yep, I can hear it. Snare, yep, it's coming through. Okay, let's do the vocal, let's do guitars, let's do bass. Sometimes you don't even get that. Let's say you don't get any of that, because this has happened. The band's late, the act that was before went long.
The band is never late, Brandon.
Never. What do? Well, let's say that you did hear the PA before you walked in, and you know the PA sounds right. Okay, so you can trust the tuning of the PA. Let's just put that out of the way. Or you've played some music on it, and you can trust the PA. You've got the tonality set. So what's the first thing that happens? Start thinking through the event, if you have that. But if it's music, you know, okay, it's going to start with some sort of track, or it's going to start with guitar or keys. So you bring that up quickly. You just get that going. Okay, I got to get a vocal. Well, on a vocal, I already know if it's a 58 type, like a ball style mic, like a SM58. I already know I'm going to high pass that. I already set a high pass for my vocalist. Hopefully you kind of know if it's a male or a female at least. You set it. You set certain things in your mix that if you've been doing it long enough, hopefully you kind of have this EQ in your head, like this should work as a starting point. There is such thing as a template. Templates are good. They've been created by somebody who has spent some time on a console. So if the console, like the X32, a lot of them have mix presets.
Right.
You can go ahead and load them in there. It's not going to hurt you. Start thinking through the timeline of when things need to happen in the room. Start bringing up faders. Watch your levels. And if I know that I'm mixing a 58, I know that if it's a vocalist who sings hard, I can set it at, I don't know, 26 to 32 dB a gain. Like I know where I can put my input gain, as long as it's not being split and taken other places. If it's a direct feed, I know generally how much gain I need to add to something. I know what a kick drum needs. I know what an electric guitar needs. So knowing that, having that in your tool belt, it lets you say, yes, I can do that event, and I can be the hero for being the guy who they called and said, yeah, I can do the event tomorrow. But don't get yourself into a situation where you said yes and you are over your head, because you'll quickly get blacklisted.
Right.
Yeah. If Beyonce called me tomorrow for the show tomorrow, I'm on a plane. I'm sorry. I'm going. I don't know.
Over your head.
Figure it out.
I've been waiting for that kind of job for the longest time. It's not her, but somebody like that level. Like Rihanna calls, I'm gone. In 45 minutes, I'm out.
There was a question
Yeah,
over
there
here.
was a question over there somewhere.
Hi, I'm Tony. I wanted to ask something about gain structuring. How do you guys approach it? The second question is related to the gain structuring issue. Does the gain affect the rest of the processing after it? That is the EQ, the compressor, and anything after that. That is, if you keep on changing the gain,
Yes.
does it affect the rest of the processing?
Yes.
The third question is this. The field gain pattern that you're talking about, is it affected by the fader in any way, or is it just the gain?
It's just a game. The second question, what was that? What was the first question?
Gain structure. So it's
Gain.
about gain and gain structure and how it affects
Oh, if it
everything
affects,
else
yes,
after
yes,
that.
definitely. So if you're, let's say you have a compressor that you set, and then you make a gain, and just say you turn the gain down. Now you're not hitting that compressor as hard.
Right.
And so, really, I wouldn't make an adjustment if it sounds fine. Just stay where it is.
Right.
But you don't have to see reduction. Like we got to know, and we're going to be talking about compressors and EQs and what have you throughout the class. You got to know what that tool does, and you got to know why you're using it. Compressors, not going to go deep into it, but a compressor can be used as an effect, or it could be used to control dynamics, and you got to know why you're using it.
Right. Understand your tools.
There is, on most mixers, so your fader, your main control for your instrument that you're mixing, they have a point where it says 0. And 0 means that it's not going to be adding in or taking away any gain to that source. Now, when you set your gain, your initial top head amp gain, you want your fader, ultimately, you want your fader to be at near 0. And the reason for that is when you start to bring that fader down, you'll see most consoles have like a -5, a -10, and all of a sudden it drops to -20. And the spacing, if you pay attention, if you pay attention to the console, it'll have it on, it'll silk screen on, it's printed on the console. The distance between 0 and -5 is, let's say it's this big. And then as you go down, the spacing becomes smaller and the jumps become larger. So all of a sudden, let's say you have your instrument sounding right in the house, but you're way down at the bottom of the fader. Well, now you touch that, you breathe on that fader, and you've moved it 3 dB because you're in the range of that fader where it has so much change because it's logarithmic, or it's exponential, I forget which one it is. But you move that fader just a tiny bit, and that change is so great. And not only that, but let's say you're mixing monitors from front of house. This is where it really comes into play. If you're mixing monitors from front of house, your monitor levels should also be like what you're sending to your vocalist should be near 0. And the reason for that is if they say, hey, can you turn my vocal down just a little bit? Well, if you're running them at -30, -40, and you turn them, and you touch that thing just a tiny bit, they're like, oh, I can't hear myself anymore. When you're like, well, I didn't do very much. Physically, you didn't change the fader very much. But the way the system works, you did change it a lot. So gain staging, we talk a lot about gain staging. You want your faders, and this also happens to be the case too when you walk back up to your mixer and you know that you're going to be starting a song. If those faders are roughly around 0, then you know that you've got a mix created. But if you walk away and your mix is all over the place, and you're like, well, this sounds great, but it looks like the Rocky Mountains, or it's just crazy up and down. It's hard to walk back in and go, is that right, or is somebody bump it? Did somebody bump my fader? If you're not running scenes, if you're not doing recalls. So gain stage has a lot to do with where your faders want to be, where you want them to be. And that's a preference. But then there's also things like, if the gain's up too high and you got your fader way down low, it could be peaking. You could be getting into some serious distortion and not even know it.
Gain structure is probably, and you in the minute details we won't be able to cover in 4 days because it's so much. But when somebody says, because you'll have an artist say, turn this down 2 dB. If your gain structure is off, that 2 dB is not 2 dB.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
And so it happens in mixing, it happens in broadcast, it happens in front of house or monitors. My first big gig was when I was talking about working for Music Soul Child, but it was the first time I started working for him. We were touring with Mary J. Blige. We were opening for her. And if it wasn't for her monitor engineer, I would have gotten fired.
Talk about it.
Because so I took the gig. I took the gig at a moment's notice. Right? I did not know what I was getting myself into, but I told the person that was recommending me that I was ready. And so let me tell you how bad I didn't know. When you get a job of that level, they're supposed to fly you from home to wherever you're meeting the bus, right? I didn't know that. So what I did, it's crazy. Yes. What I did was, did I tell you the story?
No.
What I did was I caught the bus from Huntsville, Alabama. They know this, geographically where these places are. So I caught a bus from Huntsville, Alabama to Nashville, Tennessee. I caught Southwest, which was going to give me a cheaper flight from Nashville, Tennessee to Washington, D.C. Then I caught the train from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where my mother lived. Then I caught the bus from the train station to my mother's house, and then I walked from my mother's house to where I was supposed to meet the bus. Wow. And they were supposed to fly me from home to Philadelphia, right? We're going to what they call production rehearsals. That's where you go when you build what they call looms. Everybody know what a loom is? Does anybody heard that term, loom? So let's say there's a group of wires together, and we're going to use these wires every day. Once we lay them out, we tape them all together how they're going to be, and then when we put them in the case, we just wrap them up and put them in the case, and when we bring them back out, they're already ready to go.
You remember we were talking about that the other day?
That's called a loom, right? So the Doug Deem is his name, amazing man. He said, we'll start making your looms first, and then we'll move on to whatever else. And so I looked at him with this blank stare, and he said, "You just got thrown into this, didn't you?" I said, "Yes." I didn't know what a loom was. So what he did, he helped me build my looms, and then what he would do, they would sound check first. Then he would save his presets and then load his presets. This was on a Digico D5 Live. It was the first console that had been deployed for touring. We had 2 of them in Monitor World. And he would save his settings for me and recall them I didn't even have a show file. He would recall them for me every sound check.
Wow.
Every sound check. But when I started out with horrible gain structure. So I got to my aux send. We know what an aux send is? Well, you're going to learn today. You're going to learn. Let me stop.
They're shaking their head. They know.
Right? So I was maxed out almost on my aux send, and they were saying, I can't hear, give me more. And I was like, there's no more. I can't go no more. But then when I looked at his gain structure, I was metering way down here at like a -30.
Jeez.
And then I was mixing post faders, so I had my faders at Unity, but my auxes were maxed on everything. And I probably was 10 shows in like that the drummer wanting to throw drumsticks at me. Very upset with me. And then, so what I did was, you got to be observant in this game. What I did was, we didn't necessarily always leave right away after our set. So what I would do is sit and watch him. And I was looking at his console, and I noticed that he was metering much hotter than me, around a -18, -20 dB, like for most things. And the drums, maybe attack-wise, was just a little, maybe -10, kind of hitting, but never, like, it wasn't hitting the red or anything like that. And I was like, So what I did was, each show and each sound check for about 3 shows was, I wouldn't tell anybody, I'd turn the gain up and then turn all the auxes down.
Right.
Yeah.
Relative to each other. So if I turn the gain down, whatever, I turn or turn the gain up, whatever, I turn the auxes down to that. And then when they asked for more, I could give them more.
He's giving himself what's called headroom.
Headroom.
Right?
Yep.
We understand that term? Okay, good.
So gain structure, young
Matters.
brother, is critical.
Matters.
So that you can, make the necessary changes. So you, systems-wise, you're not hitting the amps really, really hard.
Yeah.
You're not maxing out your 2-bus, your stereo master on your console. You want room for those trains. If you're living in the red like this, it's like your gain structure is all off. It should be dancing.
X32, which is notorious for not having any headroom.
It should be dancing.
Which one?
X32.
You should have gain. You should have headroom. A good, solid. What would you say, BT? 10
Well, you
10
just said,
dB.
You just said it, like between, for drums, 10, 18.
Right.
Anybody else?
But of headroom. Of headroom.
Oh, yeah.
On that master, you should have that, because it will save you a lot when you have to make minor adjustments.
Okay, let's hold our questions for now. I just want to make sure from my team that lunch is ready, because it's 12:33. Mbarathi, are we good? Are we good to break? Are we good to break for lunch? So I think we'll just break.
You want to take this one last
We can
question?
take that question, and
Let's
then
take this one last question.
We'll take it, and we'll break.
Right here.
Even though lunch is not ready, we'll just break so we can give you guys a breather to get out. We've been sitting down for a long time.
We're getting thumbs up for lunch.
Okay, good stuff. Good stuff.
We'll be short in our answers.
First and foremost, thank you again. This is a priceless opportunity. I really am grateful. Now, I have been in a situation where it was a small tent. And despite whatever I did, the feedbacks were there. Okay, the pastor had to use a lapel. It was a must. And he had to walk. Actually, it was more or less like a similar tent as this one. So he had to walk to pray for the people, back and forth. And then we did have the line arrays. We had the point source speakers, which I had positioned them round the tent because he needed everyone to hear everything. Now, my question is, was I wrong to use GEQs? Because now I had done everything. I'd rung out in the best of my ability, ringing out so that he doesn't have feedback. But then now I ended up having to use the GEQs when he would go round and he's about to get to a particular point source speaker, and I would bring down especially because it was actually, of course, from the 3K. Okay, normally I cut out 3K, but it was like a high-end feedback that was happening. And I'd even changed the lapel such that it was a cardioid. It wasn't even omnidirectional anymore. But still, because of the material that was being used in that tent, I think also. So my question is, was it wrong that I ended up using GQs to actually manage that particular feedback, or is it okay to use whatever tool to actually take care of your troubleshooting steps?
I got something.
Do it.
Okay, so I have some questions for you. First of all, you said you deployed your PA around the tent. So how many speakers did you have? Do you remember having?
I had 3 and 3 aside, and then I had like 3 monitors on the front.
Okay.
Because that was their demand. Actually, it was
So
in
you had
Uganda.
six speakers as your mains in total, right?
Yes.
So this is great. So this is why I like to use what we call zones for my PA if I have more than 2 for my main speaker in something like that. Even these right now, they're not all on the same output. The ones closer to the stage are on one output, and the ones further away are on one output. So if you, as my speaker, go down the stairs right in front of my speaker, I'm pulling you down from that, and I'm turning you up out there while you pass, and then I'll bring you back up. So it's a little game that I play if I have people that are moving around with lavs. I put all my speakers, if I had 8 speakers in here, I'd put them all on different zones, different outputs, with different graphic EQs on each one, and I'll tune them all the same. And then if I have a walker, I can kind of play with him and kind of pull him out a little bit, because remember, we're talking about feedback and gain before feedback. I'm not taking him out totally, but if he's walking right in front of me and I don't feel confident that it's not going to feedback, I'll just pull it down a little bit as he passes and bring it back up. And he goes over to the next zone, I'll pull that zone down a little bit and bring it back up. So it's a little cat and mouse game that I play. But if you guys want to dive deeper into graphic EQs and the EQ curves and things like that.
I don't want to dive too deep into graphic. The tool that did the job, did the feedback go away?
Yes.
Yes. So that was the perfect tool, right? But in that situation, and primarily in a stereo PA, sometimes you'll have artists on the stage or performers that'll go and they'll be almost directly under the PA. And sometimes they'll want to hear what the audience wants to say, so they'll go like that.
Yes.
And now your microphone is right in the PA. One of the things that I do is I will then pan that just ever so slightly. And so it's not as loud. I haven't made a gain adjustment. I haven't made a fader adjustment. I've just made a pan adjustment, panned them out of that a little bit. And then when they come back to the center of the stage, I just pan it back.
But you got to be stereo.
Yeah, but you got to be in the stereo. If you have zones, you can't be panning in the zone. So the turning down the zone is the next best option. Sounds good.
And left, right, that's 2 zones. So what you were doing is zone mixing. So yeah, I've done the same exact thing Byron's talked about. But sometimes I'll put, if it's a digital mixer and I can do this, where I'll put the faders for each zone where I can quickly gain, or I can quickly grab it and I just pull that one down, and they walk by that speaker, pull that one down, pull that one down. And yeah, it becomes a bit of a cat and mouse game. That's exactly the right term. And you have to be constantly watching. But I mean, this is what our job is in those moments.
Yep.
There is no magic button you can press that makes our job easier. Our job is to watch them. If they walk in front of a speaker, we pull it down, we pull it back up. Do the same thing, and just know, kind of, you get a feel for it after a while. And then if they're loudly talking, sometimes you can get away with it where you're really doing very little.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, that's great. So it is lunchtime. The lunch is provided for everybody just outside the tent. I don't know if you were told where the washrooms are. There's some near the security desk. And are there any other restrooms that they can use out that side? Okay, so there'll be people outside to kind of direct you if you need to use the washroom. But you're free for lunch, and we'll see you back here. What time is it now? 12:39? Just slightly after. We'll make a call for you to come back, so we'll give you enough time for lunch. Here we go.